Welcome everybody to another night of Get There Streams. You can join us here every Tuesday night at 7:30 at twitch.tv/mtggetThere. My name is Kirby. I am here with the awesome Andrew. How are you doing tonight?
Because every time this guy gets on the mic, he gives me just compliments, and I love it. I'm doing good. I'm excited to watch Legacy. Haven't watched Legacy with Org Group in at least a month and a half. I think it's been a little while. It's always fun to watch. The matches are interesting. They don't play out like other matches do. All that kind of thing. And Legacy is just a powerful format, but with its own balance. And we see the matches that we're going to be able to see tonight.
Round one, we're going to have Sebastian on Death and Taxes. Surprise, surprise.
A deck, he plays regularly in Modern, primarily because before he really started playing Modern, he was also playing Death and Taxes and Legacy for a long period of time.
He's going to be facing Sean on Tin Fins.
Love that deck.
For those unfamiliar, you try to reanimate a Grizzlebrand as quickly as possible to draw a bunch of your deck. Sometimes reset your life total with Children. And get out an Emrakul and kill your opponent in one turn.
Now, the sentence "reset your life total with Children" I don't think is one a lot of people will be familiar with. Would you run us through that one real quick just to make sure?
So it is a 1/1 for a single white. It has sacrifice, gain life equal to the amount of life you have lost this turn. So a lot of times, Sean will do something along the lines of, I'll reanimate my Grizzlebrand, I'll pay 7 life, I'll pay another 7 life, I'll reanimate a Children, I'll gain 14 or so life. I'll pay more life with Grizzlebrand. I'll then gain double as much life with Children. And essentially, it's very, very easy for him to just cycle through his whole deck.
Yep, it's a very powerful combo. I played in the Open where the deck got really revealed, like way back in 2013. I remember playing Dredge at that Open. I'm sure that's surprising.
I know, right?
But yeah, there's the deck in question. Yeah, Grizzlebrand, Children of Corliss. Emrakul is kind of its way to win the game after you've done all these things. Other than, there's a Tendrils in there somewhere? Or no?
No, he did play Tendrils at one point in time, but he decided to abandon it at some point. One interesting thing that he gets to do, it doesn't come up very often, but if he needs to get to certain point, like build up more mana and hasn't quite gotten there yet, he can recycle his deck by Cabal therapying himself to hit the Emrakul in his hand to shuffle everything back in to draw more with Grizzlebrand.
Yep. It's a very interesting situation, but something that definitely comes up. And the sideboard here, not a lot of one-ofs, as like a lot of these sideboards normally will look like. More streamlined. Monastery Mentor, obviously just a good card to be able to play longer games with your all these different single mana effects. Massacre, obvious. Is that what's the red card?
Crush, I believe. Crash.
Would you remind me of that one?
That one lets him sacrifice a mountain instead of paying the cost and destroy target artifact, if I'm remembering correctly.
Alright, so that's probably why that Badlands is in there.
Yes.
Okay. And then Dark Confidence, draw more of your deck every once in a while. I really hope that this is something that would come up tonight, just to see it kill him. With an Emrakul. That'd be sweet.
And Serenity's there to deal with all the hate cards people bring in against him. So slamming that down, it deals with Leyline, Rest in Peace, Grafdigger's Cage, you name it.
And Iron Guthix, thanks for the sub we just saw there. Or
Thank
it
you for
looks like
joining
there's
us.
one.
We
And
appreciate
thanks
it.
for getting there. And did we see the Death and Taxes list? I don't think we did. But pretty stock, just kind of what you expect as far as it goes. And we'll be able to move on to the match here.
You guys can start.
So, on average, who do you think is favored in this type of matchup?
So
There's Crash.
Yeah, there we go. Sean is really good at going off turn 1 or 2. So it could be something where he just runs away with the game before Sebastian has an opportunity to slow him down. I believe Sebastian has multiple copies of Caracas, so he does have a way to deal with it turn 1.
And there is one copy. It's a pretty decent hand. The second Aether Hub, or sorry, Aether Vial isn't exactly what he wants here, but the hand overall looking pretty good here.
I would say Sean is probably a little bit advantaged in the first game, but come sideboard, Sebastian is probably advantage because he has more hate pieces that he can bring in against this.
That seems to be the normal statement when you talk about Death and Taxes and Legacy. Is there are a couple matches where Death and Taxes seems very favored in its game 1s, and then games 2 and 3 are kind of where you really shine. Kind of like how Jund usually operates in Modern, or a lot of that type of strategy. Your game 1 is usually pretty 40-60, and then your game 2 and 3 is where you gain your percentage points.
Yeah, basically you fill up your deck with a bunch of cards that are pretty good for your game plan most of the time. It's not well tuned to the specific matchup, but that's what the sideboard's for.
So we see Sean here just leading on a Ponder, not a super explosive turn 1 for him, and his opponent is leading on the Caracas there. I'm kind of surprised to see Sebastian not deploying an Aether Vial. He doesn't really have he shouldn't have the knowledge of what his opponent's on.
It is Sean.
That's fair.
He knows Sean.
Okay.
So...
This is the issue. Sean did bring this up before. Letting players know what their matchups are going to be beforehand may be an issue in that. But I mean, pretty much it only really affects round 1. By rounds 2, 3, 4, people are going to kind of realize what they're up against here. So I don't see it being all too much of an issue. But yeah, it definitely can be something where Sebastian here, knowing what Sean's going to be on, not playing the Vial there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with this play, knowing what Sean is on.
Yeah.
Like, Sean has the ability to just go off. Having that Caracas up can help prevent Sean from just killing him in a single turn.
And we see Brainstorm into Entomb, shipping away our Griselbrand. Phyrexian Revoker going to come down here, probably naming Griselbrand.
Yeah.
Pretty
that
hard
seems like
for
a strong counterplay
that
to slow Sean down. Trying to think what Sean has to deal with the Revoker in his main board, because he doesn't really have any removal.
I'm not for sure on exactly what was in this list other than the cantrips and the slight interaction. Looks like we're maybe going to get it up on the side there. You have your hand disruption, and then other than that, it just looks like ways to make your game plan go. So I think with the Revoker being in play, Sean is out.
No. So Sean's new game plan is going to be getting an Emrakul into his graveyard.
Okay.
And bringing that back with either Shallow Grave or Goryo's Vengeance.
Oh, and good point. Collective Brutality also does answer, and I
yes.
believe there are 2 copies in the list.
Yes. So he can either deal with the Revoker, or his easier game plan is if he can hit another Entomb, just going for the Reanimate
the
Emrakul.
Vengeance Emrakul.
Yeah.
But the Vengeance Emrakul is checked on the Crocus.
You're right. This turn, he no longer has the opportunity.
But okay, Sean does have a Collective Brutality, so we're going to just go ahead and -2/-2 the Revoker here. No other modes, and Sebastian is again in the situation where he has to act. He has to be the one to put something to interact with Sean's game plan, or Sean's going to be able to potentially run away with this. But Sean's hand doesn't look all too good. There's a lot of rocks and a Griselbrand, and I couldn't get a great look at what the last card is, but it's black of some sort.
He has a Dark Writ, Griselbrand.
3 petals and a Chrome Mox.
Yes, so...
Are we casting?
We could potentially see a hard cast Griselbrand, which is really bad with that Caracas in play.
Well, Brainstorm a pickup, always a good card to find.
Now, it's possible he just goes for it, and that allows him to draw 2 the cards that he needs in order to combo all.
I'm kind of surprised to see him not doing it here, actually. I understand Brainstorming, and it looks like we did find a Shallow Grave, so we can Shallow Grave for Griselbrand, and that's the easier way to go about it that doesn't use all your resources.
Yes.
But, I mean, Sebastian does have the ability to interact with it with the Caracas. And Shallow Grave, does it sacrifice or exile at the end of the turn? I can never remember exactly.
I believe... A sack? Okay.
Alright. So Sean here going to go ahead and lead on a Dark Ritual, bringing himself up to 3 black mana. And then Shallow Grave. Put the top creature of your graveyard into play with haste.
That is correct.
Sacrifice it at end of turn. Alright. So there is a 7/7 haste Griselbrand in play now. And there is the card. Put the top creature card from your graveyard into play as though it were just played. That creature is unaffected by summoning sickness, and remove the creature from the game at the end of the turn. It does not sacrifice, it does exile.
Okay. Well, I guess you could just keep Shallow Graving it if it put it back in.
So what happened here is Sean activated his Griselbrand once, Sebastian responded with a Caracas activation, and then Sean activated his Griselbrand a second time here. So here, second Dark Ritual is going to be cast off of the last floating black mana, and
I think we're
pulling
going
all
to
these
see
boxes to the front, or petals.
probably
rather.
an Entomb Emrakul into Reanimate.
Okay.
Right now, Sebastian is completely tapped out, unless Sean did not find
Unless Sean did not
Entomb.
find it, and 14 cards, pretty unlikely to not find that type of card, but it happens every once in a while. It might just be a cast my Grizzlebrand again, but that just gets checked by the Crocus and the swords you know about. It looks like there's an Entomb pull to the front, but I don't know if there's anything to do with our Entomb.
A Cabal Therapy.
That's a story. The why is it called Tin Fins part. It's what TV show is it?
C-Lab 2021.
Thank you.
It was a reference to.
Get over here if you're gonna say it. All right, Corey's gonna be putting it into the chat there, but it's I definitely remember hearing the story when it first was a thing, but it's been a while.
Okay, so Sean does have the Entomb to put in Emrakul. While the trigger's on the stack, he's going to sack Shallow Grave it and be able to swing in for lethal. First, having to shuffle in his graveyard for the Emrakul trigger, but now Sebastian's dead.
Yep. And just full dead this turn, right? Because both the creatures...
Yep. 21 damage.
Yep.
Excuse me, 22 damage.
Wait. Oh, we're cracking into probe.
Yes.
I was like, ooh, can't catch that one. All right. So Sean goes ahead and gets game one after what kind of looked like enough disruption to be able to interact with him to give it favorable to Sebastian. But that deck does have a little bit of resiliency and just raw power when it's able to work.
Yes. The addition of Collective Brutality is very good for the deck. We saw right there with Phyrexian Revoker, like just being able to deal with that. The deck has existed long before Eldritch Moon came out, so we see how versatile and how strong being able to have a main deckable hate/disruption card to be able to get your combo through.
That also just gets your combo through by having the discard ability on it. Just Collective Brutality is just such a powerful card, and if you don't have them, you should get them.
Yes.
But as far as sideboarding goes, which side would you like to take?
I'll take the Tin Fins.
All right, so we'll go through Sebastian's. We see some more removal. We see Containment Priest. I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to see that one coming in.
Pretty decent. Pretty decent.
Good card to flash in response to a sorted reanimation effect. Otherwise, two Fairy Macabre.
Two Fairy Macabres?
Thank you. Fairy Macabre.
I'm just a little surprised he's running those.
It is an interesting card to be in the sideboard.
I guess you can vial them in.
Definitely.
It's more of an Eldrazi sideboard card.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see it not. I guess it might be slightly better than Surgical because it doesn't have the counterplay with Thalia.
But you get to run Rest in Peace, and he has two of them in the sideboard. It really looks like he was like, oh hey, there's only 13 cards in my sideboard.
I actually think that is exactly what happened.
Or I don't own Surgicals.
But I believe that this sideboarding will just be 2 Containment Priests, 2 Rest in Peace. Holy Light is 2 and a white. Non-white creatures get -1/-1. And I know that exact card because it is a common.
That's fair.
So he grabbed it out of his Pauper deck.
He grabbed it out of my Pauper deck, actually. But I would expect to see the 2 Rest in Peace, the 2 Containment Priest, the 2 Fairy Macabre, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Ethersworn Canonist if there were enough cards to come out. Being able to slow... Tin Fins does kind of play like a Storm deck, and you do need to be able to interact with how many spells that they play if you have that type of interaction.
Yes.
Cards to come out, the Serra Avenger, potentially the Palace Jailer, your Sword of Fire and Ice and Umezawa's Jedi aren't really doing a lot in this matchup.
Correct.
When you're cutting that much of your equipment, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe one of your Stoneforges coming out too.
I think there is an argument for Mother Runes. Like, it really doesn't do anything in this matchup, except maybe turn off a Collective Brutality.
And then from the Tin Fin side, first side.
Oh, I know what's coming in. 2 Massacre.
Okay.
And we're probably going to see a couple copies of Serenity to be able to deal with stuff like Rest in Peace.
Okay. Remind me of the text on Serenity. It's been a while.
At the beginning of your upkeep, destroy all artifacts and enchantments.
That sounds correct.
So it ends up blowing up itself as well.
Yep.
Bury all artifacts and enchantments.
Get them out of
i.e.
here.
They can't be regenerated.
Correct. Yeah, definitely interested to see where this goes sideboard. Sebastian, just that normal thing for Death and Taxes. You have a lot of tools for these types of matchups. And with potentially 8 cards coming in here, and Sebastian being on the play, I think we're going to at least be able to push to a Game 3.
We'll see how it goes. Serenity is a hell of a card in this matchup because it also gets some splash damage in. Being able to just take out Sebastian's Aether Vials, Batterskull,
Phyrexian Revoker.
Phyrexian Revoker.
Yep, there's a decent amount of cards. Sebastian here taking a mulligan. It looks like Sean doing the same.
So, what's the chance that Sean just decided to go with the Mentor plan and completely mess with Sebastian instead of deciding to go with...
Oh, cat's in room.
we have a feline friend joining us.
We can't be joining us, otherwise Sebastian's going to have to go home.
Yeah. Oh, is he allergic?
Very. But, that would probably not be all too surprising, though I assume that to be kind of your game plan, and I'm not really sure where that game plan is best for.
Sometimes I see Sean bring it in similar to Goblin Charbelcher decks, or I guess it would be Oops All Spell decks switch into Goblin Charbelcher decks, and vice versa. They can just decide, oh hey, I think my opponent's going all in on this like combo hate plan, that I'm just going to bring in plan B, and they're not going to be prepared for it.
Okay.
Like, if he gets out Monastery Mentor and just a few quick triggers, Sebastian doesn't have enough removal to really deal with it.
Not really something that you can, realistically not something you can deal with in any way. Especially with his only shrink effect saying the specific words non-white. No booty flash is going to resolve that. Not sure if you've seen the art of that card. But it is just a butt. Alright, both players going down to 5 here. Sean's opening hand looks like there's a Ritual, Cabal Therapy, Shallow Grave, Brainstorm, and a land. So that's a pretty good 5 from him. Sebastian on his side, mulling down to 5 and leading on a Wasteland. And Sean here has the fetch to pair with his Brainstorm. So Sean's pretty good from his side. Cavern Human. Alright, so Thalia gets to interact with that.
That's going to hold back Sean from going too crazy.
Yeah, that's definitely going to actually have a large effect here, because now if Sean wants to use his Brainstorm, he has to use both of his mana, or he has to respond to the Thalia. And to respond to the Thalia, he has to get rid of the fetch, which means that Brainstorm won't be perfect. So yep, Sean goes ahead and takes a draw, and the Storm side of his deck just isn't going to work in this part.
I'm really surprised that Sean didn't go for the Brainstorm. We're talking with a combo deck, which is looking for specific pieces. It's not looking to really outvalue with card selection. Like, it wants to just kind of like dead you.
All right. But still, I'm just thinking on the side of the mulligan. It being able to kind of smooth his draws out, make it a little bit better, get rid of some of the cards that may be less ideal here. But yeah, if he's just going to do it here, I think it would have probably been better for him to have had the 2 mana on the following turn and been able to say Cabal Therapy.
I agree.
Yep, Brainstorm here, going to pick up 3 new ones in response to this Wasteland.
We
see the
Serenity.
Serenity, Ponder, and Lotus Petal are the cards that came off, and Ponder, Serenity look like they're going back down, but here notably, I don't think Sean has a second land.
Now, so he's going to be playing out these Lotus Petals for 1.
Yep, and those are going to have to be used to cast his Ponders if you'd like to. Third land from Sebastian is a Horizon Canopy, so no Wasteland to pretty much guarantee the victory here. But Sean just fought us 15 from the attack, and Sebastian still has more tools.
Sean has a little bit of time, but if Sebastian gets down a few more hate pieces, then it's just going to be over for Sean.
What are the 2 cards on the bottom of Sean's hand? Are those...
I see 2 Dark Rituals.
Okay, so it's 2 Dark Rituals, Shallow Grave Therapy, and a Ponder hanging out. We just picked up the... Yep, that we already knew about. Ponder being cast. And what do we see? Reanimate. A bunch of spells that can't be cast, eh? I don't think we can keep those.
No. Shuffling those away.
Right, and Sebastian here, I'm kind of surprised to just see him leaving all his mana up. I guess he's anticipating to just crack as a Rising Canopy end of turn here.
My guess is he's pretending to have a Containment Priest.
Okay,
So
I mean,
Sean
he
has to
might
play
actually
around
have
that.
it. And the
That's
Rashad
also
Import here,
possible.
I think, is just a lock. Sean just...
And we're good here.
It's over.
And we're done.
Am I allowed to concede? But all right, so we're going to be going into game 3 here. Death and Tax is actually being able to enact his game plan of taxing the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wouldn't Sean have wanted to see what he went to fetch? That's just some extra information. Like,
what
come
rock
on,
is still in your deck?
Is it going to be Batter Skull? We don't know.
It's
Can't be
probably
sure.
exactly Batterskull. All right, X12 Kevin 12X, thanks for the follow and thanks for getting there. We appreciate you joining us here.
Thank you for joining us.
But I mean, seeing Reanimate, all that kind of thing, does lead to the we're not on our side gameplay.
That is correct. So the question is, do we keep with that against Death and Taxes, especially being on the play?
I think being on the play, I definitely see much more of an argument for potentially going down the Monastery Mentor route. My only issue with it is playing all these cheap spells requires your opponent not to have the spell level interaction, and also to get the Mentor down, you just have to be able to have the lands. And that game, it definitely seemed a little bit harder for Sean to be able to actually play the game, because his deck only has access to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 lands main deck.
Mm-hmm. I would actually use the other argument. I think being on the play, he just wants to go hard on the combo route before Sebastian can interact.
That's my thought process.
Okay.
That,
Okay.
A turn 1 Dark Ritual into your Entomb Shallow Grave effect and just beat your opponent is probably the best way for you to play your game ones against Death and Taxes, and trying to play the fair game with them, or the more fair game when you're on the draw, makes more sense most of the time. So let's see if we have...
I see a Shallow Grave. I see a Brainstorm, a Lotus Petal.
All right, if there's something like an Entomb in here, this is a pretty good hand for him. Polluted Delta Pass, and from Sebastian's side, a few lands. Rashad Import, Wasteland in the mix, picked up a Plains for the turn, and here's a Mother of Runes, a pretty irrelevant creature in this matchup most
I
of
don't
the time.
really like that.
But I mean, otherwise he's just bluffing a Path, or I mean a Swords Plowshares. But it looks like there's a second Mother of Runes, and I can't tell the card in the back of the hand, but Sebastian's hand looks pretty medium.
Yeah. It looks like Sean's just going for it. He's got the Entomb, he's got the Lotus Petal for the...
All right, I don't think those are fairies. I think those are surgicals.
Yeah, I think that there was a problem with that deck list.
I actually asked him before this, did you update your deck list? And he said he did. But yeah, Surgical Extraction hitting the Grizzlebrands here. I'm kind of surprised to see him doing it this stage. Why didn't we do it in draw step? Why don't we do it in response to a reanimation spell? We're playing as Tinfins. We know there's no spell interaction.
Well, he's playing it safe.
And
you can't really complain about him playing it safe.
Yeah.
Sure, there might be more ideal times for him to do it, but it's also possible for Sean to respond to the Surgical by just going like Dark Writ, reanimation spell.
did we see the hand?
I believe he did show it to
Okay.
Sebastian.
I might have just
We just weren't paying enough attention.
been looking off to the side. And real quick, Iron Guthix, after a sub, also a cheer of 100 bits. Thanks for that as well.
Thank you very much.
Here's a Brainstorm. Just going to go ahead and get rid of some of these cards. And so for Tinfins, it gets a lot harder once you don't have Grizzlebrands, right?
Yeah, now we're on the Emrakul plan. Unless Sean is being sneaky. Now, he only had 2 Grizzlebrands. Is that all he's playing in his main deck? Okay.
His main deck creatures were 2 Grizzlebrands, 1
Okay.
Emrakul, and 1 Children.
Okay. So it's just 4 creatures, period. So, because he can just entomb them.
And Connor from behind us taking the cheer top. up to 200, or yep, up to 200, a total of 300. And
Got a bidding war.
No, I had 100 before, so I'm at 300.
no, but he has a. He looks like he's at first place again because he's one above your current.
All right.
All right, we'll fix that.
You're
Let's
gonna-
see, Sean.
I think we're fine with
Would you-
this. Let's just keep pushing
Yep,
the bid
yep.
war.
What you got there, Sean? Looks like he's got Shallow Grave. He's got Ball Therapy
Mm-hmm. Can't get a great look at the rest
and
of
a
the
Dark
hand,
Writ.
though. Okay, so we have
Collective
Collective
Brutality.
Brutality. Get rid of this Mother of Runes while it's tapped. Get out of here, idiot. Are we draining?
Hmm.
I guess we don't think this Dark Ritual is very useful. Alright,
Yeah, the deck only really needs 3 mana.
so Wasteland, one of the C's.
Only really needs 2 mana.
Port, another one.
Only really needs 1 mana.
Well, I mean, Sean is pretty heavy on his lands here, and Sebastian here just picked up a Rest in Peace.
Ooh.
So we're going to be able to lock out a lot of what Sean's able to do here. But if there are mentors in his deck, we're able to still play. And there's a second Mother of Runes from Sebastian. And I'm just finding it difficult to see where Sean's game plan comes from. So he has to find the sacrifice, right?
Yeah, so he's got to find Serenity now.
Yeah.
In order to deal with the Rest in Peace. And potentially the Revoker. Though the Revoker doesn't really matter anymore.
Mhm.
The Grizzlebrands are gone. So, Rest in Peace.
Guthix giving another 200 bits, just to be sure. The hashtag get there. Thanks once again for that. And Arthas87, thanks for the follow as well.
Thanks for following us.
Always great to have more people here with us. 2 mana from Sebastian. Here's a Phyrexian Revoker. I'm wondering what he's going to name here. Were you able to overhear it, Nathaniel? Okay. I would assume
Lotus Petal.
Lotus Petal makes sense.
That's either that or Chrome Mox, but I believe Sean's playing more Lotus Petals.
Yep, and Connor just dropped another 300, and Guthix
Oh.
drops another 300.
I'm out of bits.
And while there's this bit war going on, we have Sebastian just starting to progress a board, and we're at double port territory, keeping down pretty much any white mana that Sean might have access to here. Flicker Wisps coming down from Sebastian, just going to untap a land, and then Sebastian realizing that the scrub land is probably what he needs to keep locked, and Sebastian is able to pick up the Tin Fins match 2-1 here.
Commerdex KCD. Thanks for getting there.
And I'm not sure if this one will pop up. There it is. Rue Disturb 3D, thank you for the 4-month subscription. Ooh, that's month 4 in a row via Twitch Prime. I believe that might be Ryan.
Alrighty, so on to round 2.
Yep.
We get to see some more Tin Fins.
Absolutely.
This time, we
We're
get to see
gonna
the
see-
polar opposite.
We're going to see
instead of,
two ships passing in the night.
Yes, yes. So, who is the superior combo player here?
Who is the superior Dark Ritual player?
Mm,
And,
well, we have Nathaniel on 8, essentially.
okay.
With Cabal Rituals in addition to his Dark
We have
Ritual.
extra rituals. So both of these decks have the ability to have a turn 1.
Mhm.
The question here is who is more consistent at it, and who has better ways to actually win the game once they start going. Both of them pretty much win the game when they start going.
Yeah.
But Ant has more main deck interaction via the duresses.
Whereas Sean only had the 2. Well, no.
You got
Sean
some-
has therapies
Yes.
in addition to collective brutality.
So they're both on 6.
Mhm.
6 interaction spells. Okay.
Is he on any Thoughtseize?
No,
only saw the
Nathaniel
3.
has 3 duress, 3 cabal therapy.
Oh, okay. That's what
And
was
Sean's on, yeah, they're hiding beneath the Preordained and
Ugh.
Past in Flames.
It messes with me
And
every
then
time.
Sean is on 4 Cabal Therapy, 2 Thoughtseize, and 2 Collector Values. All right, so Tin Fist is actually at a slightly higher ability to interact with the hand.
Both players have acknowledged that they are simply racing.
Absolutely. All right, Nathaniel rolls a 10, and Sean rolls an 11. Not interested.
So I like Sean in this game
Okay,
because he's on the play.
because he's on the play. So you think that that won't give
Oh,
you
he's
an edge
ready. He is ready.
here? This one's going to be quick. I feel like tonight's going to be quick. We're 1 match down. This one's going to take about 10 minutes. Opening hand has some Gitaxian probes, a couple
Probe,
land.
Brainstorm,
There's a reanimate
Dark
in the
Rid, reanimate.
back. I mean, all's we need.
Is that an Emrakul?
Yeah, that's an emerald in front. All right, well,
not where
all
he
we
wants
need
it
is
to be.
I mean, all you need is an Entomb with that hand.
Yep.
And you have probes.
That's
We're not happy
you,
with
you
that.
don't, you don't get to cast Brainstorm for free.
Well, it wasn't even brainstorming.
I know.
I mean, I think with double probe on the play and the ability to just say, if I have if I have an Entomb effect, if I have just a blue mana also to like fix her hand a little bit, that hand seems pretty okay.
I think there are better 6s that he can get.
Okay.
You're essentially trying to dig for like 2 new cards to fill that spot that you're needing, whereas just a brand new hand is going to give you more looks.
All right. So this opening hand is 2 Lotus Petals, 2 lands, and a Gitaxian Probe, and we're not happy with that one either.
Well, he was happy with it once he looked at the top card.
But Nathaniel here keeping his 7 and Sean going down to 5. I'm not very comfortable in Sean's ability to win this game anymore.
We're playing combo decks, like they're going to mulligan a lot.
Yeah. But moving down to 5, and Sean is a 3 to 4 piece combo deck, using the 3rd and 4th piece as the mana to cast piece 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nathaniel's pieces are a little bit easier to just be spread out on other things, and I do see a couple petals, some rituals, and a Lion's Eye Diamond from Nathaniel's side. Looks like a Past in Flames as well.
Sean's
Is
going down to
Sean
4.
down to 4?
Yeah, he had 4 mana sources and a Shallow Grave.
Jeez. All right. Well, Sean going down to 4 is making it look harder and harder.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Hope we're
if
not in
it's
tilt territory.
I hope we're just in land, Dark Ritual, Shallow Grave, Entombed territory. I hope that's the world we're going to go to. Gitaxian Probe, land, Ritual, Thoughtseize. That hand's fine. It's probably the best 4 you're going to get. All right. So Dark Ritual, Double Petal, Duress, Past in Flames, Lion's Eye Diamond, Island. Sean says Storm is 2, and Nathaniel grabs the Storm token.
So
Pretty good there. No tendrils in Sean's deck for tonight.
for thought seizing, the options I see are Duress
Mhm.
to keep Nathaniel from disrupting Sean's plan,
Mm-hmm.
Lion's Eye Diamond, Dark Ritual as ways to prevent Nathaniel from going off.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Sean's just going to wait.
Yep, just going to go ahead and be patient about it. So Nathaniel here, it looks like he picked up a... All right. Brainstorm's going to be great here because it's going to mess up any potential Cabal therapies, and also just has the ability to give him a lethal here if he finds the right cards.
Mhm.
And Ryan, thanks for the 400 cheer as well, wanting to get up on that leaderboard up there, but you're still in 3rd. More amusingly, he tried it 3 times. He got there on the 3rd time.
It's complicated.
And we're just going to Petal Duress, and we see Thoughtseize, Dark Ritual, and a Lotus Petal, and Nathaniel's going to go after his opponent's Thoughtseize. All right, Ponder off the top for Sean.
So let's see, we're trying to dig for both a way to reanimate.
And a way to get in the graveyard.
Yep.
So he is looking for 2 different types of cards like that. And we see Cabal Therapy, and I can't get a good look. Another Dark Ritual, and I think there might be a land in the middle.
Yeah, that does not
That's
look
not
good.
what he needs. Oop. And from Nathaniel's side, I didn't really get a good look at what he got to get off of his brainstorm. But I mean, it wasn't enough for him to win. All right, there's a land. Another brainstorm in hand too.
So,
All right.
if Nathaniel doesn't go off this turn, what do you Cabal Therapy for?
From Sean's side?
From Sean's side.
So there was... You knew there was a ritual.
Yep.
And you knew that there was a Lion's Eye Diamond.
And 2 petals, one of which he's already
He's
used.
used one of them. I would assume we're going to go after the Lion's Eye Diamond, because I think it's the most dangerous card that you knew existed.
Especially since he's holding a Past in Flames, which allows him to just go ahead and flash back all the spells that he needs.
And that's definitely going to make it a lot harder for Nathaniel to win if he doesn't have a card like Lion's Eye Diamond. And Preordain here, you're going to see the Infernal Tutor, and it looked like a 0-mana rock with it.
So that sets him up really nice.
I think we might have a lethal with this last Lion's Eye Diamond, but I mean the petal, but I mean I'm definitely not an expert with it. And 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds in the hand for Nathaniel, I think. So if we go that way, we're gonna get pretty far with it.
So.
Yep, looks like 2 the Ritual, Past in Flames, and a petal.
So right now, Sean needs to disrupt it in order to get the Lion's Eye Diamond out of his hand to prevent him from going off. Because then he's stuck with a Past in Flames in hand, and he can't Hellbent his tutor.
Yep, and Sean here does get the therapy on the double Lion's Eye Diamond, and that's going to make Nathaniel's side of this game a lot harder here. Both players just being able to interact with each other favorably enough to make it to where they're not able to really do what they need to do. And Nathaniel here is going to cast a Infernal Tutor as getting another Dark Ritual, and I think that's because he knows what... No, he doesn't, because that was the second card off of his Preordain. So now Nathaniel needs to find... Oh, okay, so next turn he's able to go because this Dark Ritual... these Dark Rituals allow him to cast his Past in Flames.
Yes.
Through this Lotus Petal. And that's why he's playing the Lotus Petal on a turn like this, is so that he's able to play around something like another therapy. But the therapy is still good here because it would have hit 2 Dark Rituals, and Nathaniel here picks up an Ad Nauseam.
All right.
Probably one of the best draws he could have, and we see him moving his permanents aside, and that's a normal way to for me to see that Ad Nauseam might be coming up.
Yes.
And we see...
And he doesn't have to worry about accidentally hitting Past in Flames either.
Oh, no, not at all.
He just has the Tendrils. He has
And
that
the Dark
healthy
Petition.
19.
Yeah, we have a lot of life to go through, too. All right, Ad Nauseam getting cast. No mana floating, but Petal and Island. And Night's Whisper. Ponder, Cabal Therapy, Ponder. And notably here, lands are hits, too, because we have not played one yet. So those lands are actually fine as long as they just have a life.
4 of them.
All right, getting pretty deep, and we don't have a stop yet, I don't believe, because there's no way to empty the hand. That's not good. All right. Okay.
Still safe.
Okay, that's a stop because
Yes.
that just finds the tendrils. That was dangerous. And Sean's just going to go ahead and concede here because he saw the hand. He knows...
Yeah,
the
Nathaniel
path
can
to
just
victory
build
here.
up enough storm off of his rituals and go get his tendrils.
All right, so we get Nathaniel winning game 1. So from this, which side of this combo matchup do you want for this side?
I'll still
Stick with
Tin
Tinfin. So
Fins.
you want to go ahead and go then?
Okay.
Doesn't seem like a lot.
I kind of like the Dark Confidants here.
Okay.
You want to gain as much possible card advantage as you can in this matchup to go off. I don't like anything else. Monastery Mentor is going to be too slow. Serenity Crash doesn't interact with anything. Massacre doesn't do anything here. There is argument for you just don't bring anything in. You just go for it, main door. Yeah.
Okay.
Same main board.
Looks like he's picking up a group of cards.
It looks like he is going the Mentor plan.
That seems really weird in a matchup like this.
So instead, Sean's just going to have to continue to attack Nathaniel's hand, deploy these, and just try to get in enough damage over a few turns while keeping Nathaniel from going off. So,
all right.
I suppose that's the plan.
I'm real curious to see what Nathaniel brings in here, because a lot of the sideboarding with these type of decks is interacting with how your opponent interacts with you, and I'm not sure what he expects his opponent to have. Surgical Extractions are an obvious card to bring in because they're going to be a good card to be able to potentially interact with the game plan that he saw in Game 1. I'm curious to see if, say, Sean wins this game through Mentor.
Mm-hmm.
If Nathaniel goes back to his drawing board, brings in cards like Dread of Night.
Not a big fan of that. So this brings up a similar situation to when you're playing against Storm and you know they have Empty the Warrens.
Mm-hmm.
How many copies of something like Maelstrom Pulse do you keep in your deck to deal with the Empty the Warrens kill?
I personally would not play many.
Mm-hmm.
I'd keep it low to 1, maybe 2.
Yes. So you want that way to, like, oh hey, I have a chance of dealing with the Empty the Warrens kill, but I haven't diluted myself so much that I can't try to just race their combo or disrupt their combo.
All right, so we'll be moving into the game here, and Sean, both players keeping a 7, so we get to see a game. And Sean, going to open on a Thoughtseize Seeing, Dark Ritual, Double Cabal Ritual, Alliance on Diamond, Therapy, Lotus Petal, and a Volcanic Island. And Sean, you're going to take the Therapy, which is kind of interesting to me on a hand that has no access to black mana outside of a Petal.
This signals to me that Sean's getting ready to combo.
We're just going straight for it, eh?
Yeah, he set the Reanimate card down, so he's ready.
So Nathaniel picked up a Brainstorm for turn here, though. So he has the ability to respond to the Shallow Grave with a Brainstorm and see if we find that Surgical Extraction. And I'm real ready. Blue card, Tutor, and a Therapy. Boo.
So we might be on to a
third game,
game
nice and
3.
quick.
Yes,
Nice and
yes.
quick. I mean, there's this possibility that Sean doesn't hit, right? His top 14 cards could all be terrible.
I don't think you set up your deck so the top 7 cards are terrible.
Well, what about you get 14? I mean, it's statistically possible.
He just said I could Emrakul you now. I think the cards are down.
Do it, do it, do it.
I won't.
I think he just
No, just tell him to do it.
just kill him.
That's the second time we've got to say that on stream.
There you go.
The first time was more warranted. It was almost midnight and we wanted to go home.
Yeah. Yep. Dark Ritual in 2 and put my Emrakul in the graveyard. Nathaniel's untapping for some reason.
He was untapping the scoop.
And then.
There we go. All right. And yeah, those 7 cards, I think those were good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. A cool 13 minutes into a round here, and Sean evens it up to a 1-1, going into game 3 with Nathaniel on the play. And I think we might win.
Yeah. So, funny enough, it looked like he grabbed 4 of his mentors to put in his deck, but
I mean, he
just
still
went with
gets combo
the
them.
normal kill.
Maybe we're doing both.
It's possible.
Attack them from 2 different sides. So, also I didn't bring it up, I would assume that the one Flusterstorm is also in Nathaniel's deck.
Yes.
Which kind of surprises me that, say, Nathaniel doesn't play the Lotus Petal on that turn, because he could have gone Brainstorm into the Flusterstorm and crack it off the Petal.
Well, all we know is players are happy with what they have. Like,
All right.
Didn't go back to sideboard. They just went straight on to game 3.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Open with the Gataxian
What
Probe.
is Sean packing?
I think my favorite thing about Gataxian Probe is just the ability to see the hand for sure from up here. We have Entomb, Shallow Grave, Brainstorm, Ponder, and 2 lands.
This is a pretty good start for Sean.
Another Probe, same hand, eh? And 2 Infernal Tutors, some Rituals. Nathaniel's hand seems pretty alright too, but I think what we need from Nathaniel's side is a way to empty the hand.
Okay. So Sean has the opportunity to just turn to Griselbrand, and he's probably debating about what he wants to do right now.
I like it better than digging, and if we're going to dig on turn 1, I would think you'd want to ponder over Brainstorm.
But if he has finds a ritual effect, he can still do it.
He just find a ritual effect
So-
and a Lotus Petal.
He's trying to find
turn 2?
a Lotus
To do it on turn
Petal.
1.
I think
No,
he's
I'm
also
saying
trying to
turn
find
2,
hand
just
disruption. Like, he wants to see what's going on Nathaniel's side of the board.
And Sean here puts Entomb on top of the deck with Agora's Vengeance under it. Nathaniel here finds a Ponder, so Ponder gives him a lot more looks at him killing his opponent. And what he's really looking for here, I believe, is a Lion's Eye Diamond.
Hmm.
Volcanic Island. Ritual. All right. I mean, I think if he finds Lion's Eye, that we're at least ad nauseaming, and that should be good enough. There is a surgical in Nathaniel's hand, though, I believe.
Mm.
So he has the interaction for Sean's way to win. Ponder there. Sees Cabal Ritual, Lion's Eye Diamond, and a third card.
So
Over here, Nathaniel, update, you might be dead.
yeah.
All right, Lion's Eye Diamond, I believe, is just good enough here. Yep, Dark Swamp. Here's one ritual. Where's the... Sean should grab the keyboard key that we have in our box and put it in play.
F6.
Yeah. Ritual. Up to 5 black mana. Here's my Lion's Eye Diamond. Here's my Infernal Tutor. Does he want to cast... I would assume we're casting the Surgical just to increase her Storm. And it also lets us see the hand.
What's in the hand? Yeah.
Yeah, when we see Collective Brutality, Goro's Vengeance, Shallow Grave, Reanimate, Ponder. Nothing that really matters here. But, yep, Nathaniel here has pretty much the guaranteed lethal. Yeah, because I believe we're just going to go for Past in Flames here. Because we have the mana, we get a double Dark Ritual, Infernal Tutor, and we have enough.
Yep. All right. We have Nathaniel winning it 2-1.
Yep. And he was worried about this at the beginning. He actually was under the impression that his opponent was probably going to get the match.
Nathaniel has had so many reps with this deck and is so skilled that he is very good at playing around whatever his opponents are trying to do. He knows the right time to kind of sit back, try to throw them off from interacting with him, or in this case, prevent Sean from going off before Nathaniel had the opportunity, or just straight going for it when he needs to.
And being able to kind of realize which matchups are the type of matchups where you just go for it when you have it. That kind of thing is very important. So I believe we're going to see... Are you in the fray this round?
Yep, I'm in the fray this round. So I'm going up against Alex with Grixis Delver.
I'm excited to see this matchup, and I believe you're going to be swapping out with Sean, correct?
Yes.
So we're going to be moving into a round 3 here, and we're going to have Alex on Grixis Delver playing against Kirby moving out of the booth on 4-color Loam. Welcome, Sean.
Hi.
How's your time in the booth, in the fray down there?
I mean, I lost.
All right.
He hit LED off of his Ponder and was able to kill me on the spot. If not, the Brutality there would have bought me a turn to probably kill him, because I had a sweet hand.
All right. So we'll go ahead and look at the list that we're about to see battling. I hate this program, and why is that Volcanic Island down in the middle of the screen there?
I don't know.
What are they doing? Just throwing them wherever they want.
Underneath that one is 2 Spell Pierce and a Forked Bolt, and underneath the one in the middle is 3 Young Pyromancer.
Yep, but this deck looks pretty stock for this deck. Nothing really all too special.
All right.
At least that I can visibly see. And that's going to be up against 4-color Loam from Kirby. And we see, again, just kind of what I expect when I think of this deck.
Yep. Hashtag just loam things.
I love the variants and assorted planeswalkers in the sideboard, but I do know that that's
Johnny Vengeant. Wow, that's
been showing up, I believe.
wouldn't expect that out of a loam deck.
Alex is also on the virtual club PCs, right? Yeah, great.
All right, so we'll be able to move down to our match here. And in general, who do you think is favored in this type of matchup?
Kirby asking Alex how his nap went. A little distracting. I think Kirby was probably going to be able to take it. I mean, not easily, but it's going to take a while. He's going to have to grind him out with Life from the Loam and Punishing Fire, but I'm not sure there's much Alex can do about it other than maybe stick a threat and then be pretty proactive with Wastelands and Dazes.
So as far as it goes, these Loam decks kind of look like they're a derivative of kind of putting together your Maverick strategy with your land strategy and kind of finding that middle ground.
Yeah,
at least that's what it
good
kind
way
of
to think about it.
Looks like. So both of those decks, I believe, historically have relatively good Delver matchups. I know the lands versus Delver matchup is usually pretty favorable, And the Maverick Delver matchup has play to it, but in average, I believe it's usually to the side of Maverick.
Okay.
So here I think that being able to bridge yourself a little bit closer to the land side, you're going to make it a little bit better for the loam
And I
side.
think Kirby's got does he have main deck Chalice of the Voids?
Yes.
4 of them?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's a card. That's a very good card against the Delver strategies.
That probably blanks a good third of Alex's deck. And
All right.
he's got the Mox Diamonds to
to power them out.
Yeah, Kirby's got. I think Kirby's pretty favorite. He's got the ramp. He has Chalice. He has big creatures that Alex can't move. I don't think I saw pushes in Alex's deck.
I don't believe
He had
that.
lightning bolts for
Yep.
removal.
Rum bolts. I generally prefer bolt. Just with your Delver strategies, having reach is very important. And a lot of your threats that you have to kill are cards like Gurmag Angler, and neither of those answer it anyways. You might as well be able to go upstairs.
Yes.
I don't think there's a lot in Legacy other than exactly Tarmogoyf that Fatal Push checks that Bolt doesn't.
Oh.
Night of the Reliquary is the other one.
Yeah, I mean Kirby's Knights are going to be bigger than anything Alex makes, but Alex has 2 True Name. I don't think
that card's going to
Kirby.
matter.
I don't think I saw Kirby with outs to True Name. So if
Yes.
Alex sticks one, he has to either pose.
3
have the-
Liliana the Veils, I believe.
Did he? Okay.
Yes.
I saw the new Liliana, and there's Liliana Veil. Okay.
Yep. There's
And
3
he's got a
Lily
abrupt
and-
decay. So I mean, with this
Yeah.
hand, let's see. Kurt, I'm leaning over.
There,
like
there we
it's
go.
gonna help me
Everyone
see.
leans. It looks
Grove
like
of the Burn Willows, Liliana. I thought I saw a couple of abrupt decays.
some form of interaction. I think there's a Crocus in the middle of the hand. So
Crocus. Okay.
casting Liliana the Veil might be a difficult thing for Kirby in this game.
Yeah. So Bayou, Grove, Caracas,
Quarter.
Liliana. No, that's not a Bayou. It's a Ghost Quarter. Wow. He has no black.
And from Alex, I see Lightning Bolt, a bunch of lands, and a Deathrite Shaman, I think. But Deathrite Shaman, one of the more important cards in this matchup. And luckily from Kirby's side, a card like Ghost Quarter is effectively a Wasteland in this matchup.
He just drew. Speaking of which, he just drew a Wasteland. I think Kirby is holding a couple multicolored cards that he can't quite cast with his double colorless land draw and
His
Caracas.
double colorless Caracas Grove draw.
I guess he could play a knight, but he'll then, without ghost courting himself, he won't have any way to grow the knight.
Oh,
or
yeah.
activate the knight.
Kirby has the tools he wants in this matchup, just not the way to play them.
No, his mana base is not working with him, and Alex is getting to
Put himself a
do
little
what
bit ahead.
he wants to for the first couple of turns.
He sees.
Put his cards in his hand with
Sure did. But
Oh, no.
Delver, Brainstorm, Force of Will were the 3 that he saw. So we moved those aside nice and quickly. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and keep those, and we get to draw one of them. And he wants that Delver Secrets. So Caracas going to get targeted by a Wasteland. Quasali, Pride Mage.
Oh, that's a Pride
it's
Mage.
Pride Mage, Knight of the Reliquary, and Liliana the Veil.
Okay.
Does he Ghost Quarter?
Yeah, I don't think Kirby's really going to be playing.
Yep. I figured we were going to Ghost Quarter ourselves here, so that we get to play our Quasali Pride Mage next turn, off of the Plains.
Plains in the Grove. That's
A little bit
Yeah.
awkward, but it's kind of just what I think he has to do in here. Does he have Plains in his deck?
No.
It's just Forest, so we can't even make that play.
mm,
And Deathrite Shaman going to eat the Ghost Quarter, and here's a Delver Secret. So Alex putting himself very quickly ahead in this match.
so Kirby has the Grove. If he finds a Punishing Fire, he can slowly kill both of these threats. He's got to
Mhm.
hit the Deathrite first, so it doesn't eat the Punishing Fire. But
Verdant
there's-
Catacombs is a good draw.
there we go.
That's a white mana. I think it's also a black mana because I do believe there's an Abrupt Decay. So, or no, the Abrupt Decay, sorry, that was a Pride Mage, right?
he has some 2 of Pride Mage Knight Decay. Can't
So,
see too well.
Kirby looks like we're playing the Wasteland as their land for turn. I would assume that we want to go ahead and cast your spells if we have them.
Yeah, playing the Wasteland doesn't get him very well. But if he doesn't have a decay, he can't.
Yeah, I don't believe we have any
We
way
don't
to-
know if he has the decay.
I'm pretty sure it's a Pride Mage when I saw him going through it. Yep, the Verdant Catacombs here, and there might be a pass, yep, just to make sure that our white mana is safe. But Alex here going to flip off with Force of Will, and there's no safety when that's the case. Your spells are not going to resolve if they're good enough.
This is where Delver wants to be. I mean, it's got the 2 threats in play. It has a Force of Will to start hitting Kirby while stopping his spells.
I think there might be a major issue from Alex's side, though. I don't think there's a blue spell to pair with this Force. I think he's on lands and
See
a Lightning Bolt.
So if Kirby goes for a creature, it can get bolted.
Well, it
The
doesn't
Knight-
work against
the
Knight of the
would be a
Reliquary.
4/4, yeah, with that fetch land.
This is just playing out as a very weird game. Kirby here picked up another fetch land, so Liliana will be castable later on if he wants to go that route. But here's Wasteland, looking. And we're gonna Wasteland the Volcanic Island. That's interesting. Red mana going out. What is your play, Kirby?
Guessing he plays the
Pride Mage?
Pride Mage.
Yeah, I'm supposing if that's what we're doing. I guess he wants to play around Daze. That's why he didn't want to run the Knight out, but Daze is going to be just as good as against your Knight next turn. So there's a Savannah. Yeah, I'm assuming that's just going to be a Pride Mage coming down here, which is not really the type of card you want in this matchup.
It pairs up against the 3/2 flyer that Alex has, but
That's a Gaddock Teague, not.
Oh, is that Teague?
That's Judge Promo.
The
It looks weird.
weird green-white cards.
That makes a lot more sense.
so Force of Will's offline now.
Okay.
Even he just hit his blue card to play it, and now he can't cast it.
But luckily, the blue card to play it is a Brainstorm, and he does have the fetch land to be able to shuffle away some of his worst cards. And there also is just a Lightning Bolt up top on
Yeah,
Alex's
so he
hand.
can bolt and then force if he really needs to. But
And if something like a Knight of the Reliquary were to come down, I would assume that's what's gonna happen. Sharima, thanks for the 4th month of your subscription. We appreciate the support as always. And yep, here's Knight of the Reliquary. I would assume to see Lightning Bolt into Force of Will here if Alex is worried about answering it. But okay, we're gonna start with the Brainstorm. Try to find a different blue card.
yeah, he hit Spell Pierce, Gurmag Angler, something I didn't see.
All right, Spell Pierce pretty medium in this matchup. So pitching that one
Great
to
to
Force.
pitch to Force of Will. So I don't think Alex is in a bad spot if he Lightning Bolts Force of Wills here.
Oh, not at all. He's going to have complete board advantage. He's going to be able to play a Gurmag Angler next turn. He's shuffling away 2 of these extra lands that he
Yep.
doesn't need.
It'll be 3. I mean, in this exchange will be 3 cards to 2, but Kirby will be left with nothing, and Alex will get to keep attacking. So
Yep.
I don't think he can let him keep the Knight because it'll. I mean, he doesn't have a true name to stop it with.
Nope. Wasteland going to get eaten by the Deathrite Shaman here. Bolt going to go after Gaddock Teague, and then Forcible pitching the Spell Pierce as stated. So Kirby is left with nothing but lands on his side. Alex still has a Deathrite Shaman running and a Insectile Aberration. I'm kind of surprised to see Alex use his Deathrite Shaman to cast the Bolt. Well, I understand wanting to make sure you get rid of all the lands from the opponent's graveyard. You're going to be cracking this fetch land anyways. And also, Zolia, I believe was the name. Thanks for the follow. We appreciate you getting there and joining us here for the stream. But yeah, I'm kind of interested to see him using the Deathrite Shaman there just because of the fact that you're going to be getting this red land with your fetch anyways.
You might as well shrink future Knights of the Reliquary
Okay.
while you're at it. I mean, even if he had used his Volcanic Island to cast the Lightning Bolt,
You think
it
he would've
probably
just
still
done
would have
that
been a good
turn?
idea to shrink the Knights,
Okay.
to shrink future Knights on the end step and not use the mana.
I think that's fair. I was just wondering on it because I know Alex here is probably going to be delving a good portion of his graveyard to this Gurmag Angler he's probably going to cast.
Let's see,
And-
he's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. Gurmag Angler delves 6, so he
Yep.
could keep 1 land
Keeps
or
one
spell
land.
in his graveyard.
And Delver's Secret's the pickup, meaning that his board's just going to keep progressing.
I think Alex just wins, next turn if he's got 2 Flip Delvers and a Gurmag. He's just playing everything.
To answer the question, Gaming Gumshoes, Gurmag Angler has absolutely overtaken the Tombstalker slot in pretty much every single deck in Legacy and Modern. It occasionally shows up in Sultai Delver still, I think.
Yeah, if at all. I mean, Tombstalker was always like a 1 or a 2 of at most, but Gurmag Anglers are 3 or 4.
And
These
the
decks
reasoning...
are operating on fewer lands. I mean, Tombstalker requires you to have 2 lands in play, which
Yeah.
you don't even always have in Legacy, but it's also the double black that
double black is an issue. Gurmag just costing a single black. The flying keyword is important, but not necessary.
it's pretty useful to hit planeswalkers over chump blockers or fly over a true name, but Gurmag's usually fine on its
Yeah,
own.
it's mostly just that mana consistency, and you're delving 6 for both cards, because both of them are 6 and then their colors.
Yeah, if you're gonna have only 2 lands in play in Legacy, you'd usually like them to both produce blue mana.
Yep.
To make them both produce black, and then split the lands between
Like
an
a
underground sea and a
Badlands.
bad land. You don't want to play Badlands in
No,
your deck.
not at all, because that doesn't cast Ponder Delver, Brainstorm.
Right, so you'd rather have Underground Sea Volcanic than 2 black lands if you can only have 2. There's the Punishing Fire Kirby needed about 5 turns ago.
Well, we get to start it now. That's just when we need it, right? So what's Kirby hoping here? We just don't flip Is that his only out? Pretty much is not flipping.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's lethal without the flip. If one Deathrite attacks and one Deathrite drains for 2.
So we're just playing to see if Alex saw it, eh?
Yeah. Get the information that he had Brainstorm in his deck on that.
So
flip.
Alex actually pretty convincingly, and I think it might be in part to just Kirby's hand being kind of weird, but pretty convincingly able to get his game 1 there.
Yeah.
Which,
so now we're looking at sideboards?
Yep. Which
trying to
side
guess.
would you like to go ahead and take?
Okay, so I talk about one and
Yep.
you cover the other?
That's what we've normally been doing.
Okay. I'll go with Kirby. I
All right,
guess.
so he's down the game, so go ahead and start us off with
Oh,
what you think is
it's
going to
different
come
now.
in and out.
Oh, man. Now I'm on the spot. I have to decide.
Now you're on the spot. Let's go. Let's go, Sean.
Ley lines help against Gurmag Angler, but that's about all they do.
Okay.
It's no good. Probably Planeswalkers are probably pretty good if he can keep his lands around. I mean, they're other than Lightning Bolt, they can give him some pretty constant value.
I would assume not a Johnny, but yes on Liliana and Garruk.
Garrett kills everything but Gurmag.
It all looks like fun. I would probably bring in all the Planeswalkers,
Okay.
especially a Johnny.
Golgari Charms to
Um,
answer potential True Name Nemesis, also sweeping Young
Okay,
Pyromancers, I
yep.
assume.
And then Thalia is just could slow down a
Good
lot
card
of.
in this
Well,
type of matchup.
Alex has a lot of creatures, so I don't know. Maybe
But,
Thalia's not good enough.
Thalia is kind of a weird card against the Delver decks. Landing it early kind of messes up their game plan if they don't have like turn 1 creature, because a lot of their earlier game plan comes to digging for the good threats. It can
Yeah.
have some play here and there, but it kind of goes here to looking at the cards that you'd think you'd want to take out. I would assume we don't want Teague. I would assume we don't want Vindicate. The Sylvan Library is a maybe, and other than that, like maybe the Dryad Arbor, some number of copies of Dark Confidant. It's really how many cards you want to take out for these other cards.
I could see cutting the Teague and cutting the Vindicate, but Sylvan Library and Dryad Arbor and Dark Confidants, I would want to keep all of those.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, Dark Confidant's going to deal you damage. Sylvan Library, I mean, the way it's written threatens to deal you damage, but to select one of your top 3 cards every turn and shuffle off of a Knight or a Fetch every turn
It's absolutely powerful.
could just bury Alex in value.
The only thing is, we are wanting to bring in like 4 or 5 cards. We do need to find our cuts.
Not too sure we needed to bring them all in, so
Yeah,
I think Kirby
that's
might be
fair.
a little more selective.
All right, and then from the Grixis Delver side, I would assume maybe something like Surgical Extraction. It plays well against these loam decks, being able to interact with their graveyard, get rid of some of the more powerful cards that they can bring back. Price of Progress is going to do a ton of damage to Kirby in most of these games.
Yep.
And also something like the Abrade to be able to answer Chalices, assuming Alex knows that these decks are Chalice decks, because Alex does do a decent amount of Legacy.
I do think he expects it.
So I would anticipate Abrade. And then from the cutting out side, on the draw, I'm usually a big proponent of the on the draw days on the play argument of not having them when you're on the draw, because
Okay.
it just puts yourself just a little bit too much further behind than I usually like to be.
Do you think Alex needs to have the Cataxian probes in? I mean, he doesn't really
I
need
think-
to know what's in Kirby's hand.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's not
fair.
bringing in the Cabal therapies, probably.
We're not. We're also going to probably cut the 2 Spell Pierces and the Fork Bolt. Those
Oh,
cards seem a
definitely the
little-
Spell Pierces. Fork Bolt
Maybe.
could clean up the Gaddock Teague if it stays in. The Dryad Arbor. There probably won't be any 2/2
Dark
Knights, but
Confidants.
it does kill the Dark Confidants.
It's a weird card. So I anticipate Alex to be bringing in about 4 cards here. I'd say like 1 Surgical, the Abrade, and 2 Price of Progress. That's what I would bring in at
Okay.
least. And so that's 2 Spell Pierce and 2 Probes, something like that, if that's maybe how you wanted to do your split on that.
But he will be on the draw here, so I guess that would be leaving the Dazes in.
I would probably bring the Dazes out, but I'm not sure all players would. And Kirby here, we did see Thalia come in, and we see a turn 1 Thalia from him off of Mox Diamond.
Yep. And he has the Wasteland for that Underground, see? So
Now
he's
we
got-
just have to see if the leftover cards in his hand are good enough. Looks like Vindicate up in the front, so Vindicate's still in.
I was about to call that a Ghost Quarter.
Land and a Green Sun Zenith are the leftovers for Kirby.
All these reprint arts are getting me.
Well, these reprint arts are the worst, man. I can't wait to just like be paying attention and just see one of the Jace Spellbook cards and be like, what the hell is that? Someone casts the Negate, I have to pick it up and read it.
Oh, man.
Yep, Thalia is going to come in here for 2.
He's
Curious to see how Kirby wants to
He's
progress
got
this
the
turn.
Wasteland, right? Unless he has a 3. He's got Green Sun Zenith, but he can only Zenith for 1 with the Thalia in play. So
Wastelanding against Deathrite Shaman always feels a little bit worse, but when you're on the play, it's better. Because and especially with a Thalia, you're not setting yourself back too much to do that.
if you Wasteland here and Alex has the land,
He still only casts 1 spell.
unless he has creatures, he only gets 1 spell.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think you do just to keep Alex a little hamstrung, I guess, for the first couple turns.
And Kirby here just got a pass, which is really interesting to me.
I guess that means he's saving up for Green Sun Zenith next turn for a Knight of the Reliquary.
Or Vindicate, but in most situations, I suppose here Vindicate takes care of Deathrite Shaman.
Vindicate the Deathrite, and then the next turn we can Wasteland Ghost Quarter.
And there's a Karakas from Kirby.
It's not a Ghost Quarter still.
Still a Vindicate. Yep, Vernon Catacombs is going to go ahead and grab, I assume, a Bayou? Yep.
Now in Alex's hand, I think I saw when he's flipping through a Bolt at 2 Ponders.
Bolt 2 Ponders, and there is a Price of Progress in there. And I think the Abrade might also be in the mix. So we can cast one of these 2-mana cards here. We can clean up Thalia in response to this Vindicate, and then be able to enact multiple Ponders on our following turn, because the Wasteland will be tapped to cast a Vindicate. So he'll be able to start digging himself a little bit more into this game after this.
He doesn't. Does Alex have a graveyard yet?
He does not, but
I don't see it on the screen. I guess that Underground. Yeah, he just played the Underground Sea.
Yep. So Vindicate, target Deathrite Shaman. Alex going to eat the Badlands out of Kirby's graveyard in response. Kirby's going to attempt to move phases, and we're going to see a Lightning Bolt take care of Thalia. All right. So Alex now has the ability to play his 1-mana spells the way they were designed. And both fetches here. Is this a True Name Nemesis? I'm very curious to see him main phasing both of his fetches without any ponders or anything.
Now, would you
like
play
that.
True Name Nemesis here? If you have, oh, he doesn't have it. He has 3 Ponders.
This is a very interesting sequence.
I would think you'd lead with a Ponder and try to stick a 1-mana threat, and if not, you then play your next land out.
Mm-hmm. And also just these cantrips that look at the top of your deck just play so well with fetch lands.
Right. Even though Ponder does give you the shuffle, if you have a fetch land to follow it up with, it lets you pull 1 of the 3 out and shuffle the other 2 away.
I see what it is. We have Young Pyromancer.
Okay. Yep.
So you want to get some elementals.
In that case, you have to fetch everything at once.
I don't know if we have a lot of elementals in that stack, unfortunately.
Yeah, we got dice. You only need tapped and untapped usually.
Yep. So there is a Ponder. We see Delver, Seeker, Skirmag Angler, and a land. It's an interesting pile. I would assume
So I guess with the Pyromancers in the mix, that makes Kirby want to have Golgari Charm boot more.
Yep. And also just its ability to interact with True Name Nemesis.
Yeah. Now, if it were just for the 2 True Names, I'm not
I know that
sure,
Golgari
because
Charm
he
is
has
a card.
Liliana's, but
Yeah, I just know that Golgari Charm is a card that regularly is in these decks because of how it interacts with True Name Nemesis.
yeah.
Because answering that card does matter, and Alex will have some creatures here there through Deathrite Shamans and Delvers. And while you're fine with your Lilianas answering those, you do have specific cards you need those Lilianas to answer.
Yeah.
And then also every once in a while, you can destroy an enchantment. I'm sure that comes up never.
Not from the Grixis deck.
I guess destroying a Leyline of the Void from the Loam deck every once in a while.
Yeah, that could be good.
Yeah. Looks like Kirby here played a Wasteland and then loamed it back and played it again. So Alex down to 1 land, and if we don't find more lands, which luckily we do have a fetch land in the hand here. Alex is threatened to be on 1 land again next turn at this point. But Young Pyromancer starting to run.
Kirby really needs to find an answer for this. He can't just be Wastelanding because he'll die.
Oh no, not at all.
Here's Ponder number 3.
The loam plan works a lot better when you're ahead on the board.
Yep.
I think there might be a Liliana the Veil in Kirby's hand.
I don't think Grixis Delver is going to be Blood Mooning, but it would kill it. Yeah.
Yep, here's a Delve for a Gurmag Angler, and now Kirby has to find an answer for the Pyromancer and an answer for the Angler after you clean up. And
Yep.
maybe I was wrong on just how this matchup normally looks. Kirby here milling over 2 different, Dark Confidant, Liliana, the Last Hope, and a Ghost Quarter.
Why did we dredge there?
I'm not sure. Maybe just specifically to make Knight of the Reliquary big enough to block a Gurmag Angler.
Oh, he has a knight in hand.
Yes, I
Okay.
believe we do.
That
Oh no,
makes
we have the Green Sun Zenith that we can cast for 3 here.
Zenith for knight. Hope he doesn't daze.
It's or Force of Will, but I would assume this actually might have also been a matchup where Force might have come out. I know in these grindy matchups that Delver sometimes just needs to get rid of it.
Yeah, but if we don't like probe and daze, I think force is kind of third in line there to be cut.
Kirby here shuffling 3 times in a turn, losing points in his Commander League.
You lose points for that?
In some Commander Leagues, shuffling multiple times in the same turn because you just take a bunch of extra time. But
When I play Commander, I just try to kill everybody on turn 3, so I'm not.
yeah, that would lose you points.
I don't play for points.
Alex here playing another Ponder, getting another Pyromancer token, sees a Delver Secret's Deathray Shaman, and I think another Gurmag Angler. We're shuffling that one away.
With the Price of Progress in Alex's hand, he can throw all of his creatures at Kirby this turn, next turn, I think price for 6 damage.
Yep, price at the moment is a 6
So it'll
damage
be
attack.
4 unblocked now, plus 6. It almost kills Kirby.
I really like these Delver decks adopting Price of Progress. I don't know how recent it is that they started really playing it.
Blue-Red Delver
I know
used to be more of a burn deck, and this is kind of Blue-Red Delver with some black cards, including Deathrite, which is kind of another Delver. So it's more Grixis shifting away from Bug Delver and more towards Blue-Red Delver.
Because I've always just been a fan of Price of Progress and just how powerful it can be in Legacy a lot of the time. And I know that one of the reasons it's so good in Burn and decks like that is because these Delver decks can't play with non-basics. I mean, with basic lands, rather. They have to be non-basics.
Now, if Kirby weren't such on the back foot, he could pretty easily answer Price of Progress by sacrificing a land, tutoring up a wasteland, blowing his own land up. Alex would take more damage than Kirby would, but unfortunately he's on the back foot again this game.
Alex, you're just going to deploy a Delver and then pass back to Kirby, and then they're going to go look at what Kirby picked up, but the other card looks like it's just Life from the Loam. And
Alex did not attack with anybody.
do another Knight of the Reliquary. Alright, so interestingly here, I don't think Alex has access to another land. So if Kirby were to loam back the Wasteland and Wasteland him off Volcanic Island, there wouldn't be red mana, but that just seems a little dangerous here. Second Knight of the Reliquary, definitely the more safe play. I'm interested here to see him maybe not using a Knight to get rid of a land, but Alex here is able to pick up a land.
He does need to be able to block, so he'll be doing that on Alex's end step. But giving him another turn with that Volcanic Island is not too big of a deal. I mean, he already let Alex have a young Pyromancer, so, and he's not too afraid of Bolt. So,
and now that Kirby has a off summoning Knight of the Reliquary, he's able to play around a Price of Progress a lot better as well. This game's kind of actually shaping up to be a little interesting. If this Delver is able to be checked by Kirby at a later point in time, then it might be hard for Alex to actually cross the finish line unless we make like 18 tokens.
now Kirby Punishing Fired earlier, didn't he? Does he still
I
have
believe
it?
that was the last game.
Last game? Okay.
Yeah, because there's...
So if he does manage to find a Punishing Fire, the Knight can find a Grove.
Yep, and we're going to be in a good place. But Alex here resolves a second Gurmag Angler. Kirby on a turn going to get rid of a bio.
Kirby really needs to draw a Grixis or Golgari Charm.
We might be on the Dark Depths plan. Here, okay. So this is removal spell that he can dredge.
All right, slowly.
Alex going to respond and
By
cast a
dealing
Price of
himself 8
Progress.
damage?
I would like
That
to
doesn't seem very good.
I would like to 8 myself to 4 you and make a 1/1.
I
think-
thought twice about it. But that probably signaled to Kirby that he could have a price in hand. Now,
Yep.
Kirby might go after that red source.
And that is the last card in Alex's hand, and we're going to cast it. And Alex takes 8 to deal 4 to Kirby. So Kirby down to 11, Alex down to 6. That is a lot, not a small amount of damage, but
It's like Kirby double charred Alex or something.
it does make another elemental for Alex. But he doesn't have the ability to deal lethal damage through this, especially because he knows about the loam.
Both Knights are
Huge.
lethal now.
They're huges.
Oh, and Kirby's drawing Punishing Fire, so
And Burning Mage, thanks for the follow, and thank you for getting there. We appreciate you joining with us tonight. But yeah, this Punishing Fire is huge here, because that means Kirby's able to find a Grove of the Burn Willows off of one of his Knights and start recycling it. And just the extremely powerful recursive removal spell has the ability to really dig Kirby back into this game that looked for a while like it was a game that he couldn't win. And Alex here is just going to concede to the loam because he knows that he's probably out of it.
Yep.
That was not a game I expected Kirby to win.
No. No. I think Alex could have. I think Alex missed an attack. I think.
So the issue was the Gurmag Angler.
The numbers were just shy of it, but if he had attacked with the Pyromancer, 2 tokens, and the first Gurmag Angler, sacrificing the Angler,
it gets 4
Kirby
damage
would've
in.
been-
Kirby goes to 7.
well, I was talking about like 4 or 5 turns ago. But if he had done that, he would have dealt 4 to Kirby, I think.
Okay.
I forget the life totals at the time, but
And he also could have done an extra 2 damage by using the Press of Progress while Kirby wasn't.
well, he had 3 lands up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Alex only had 3 himself, so he
Yeah.
would have also taken less damage. It's kind of interesting there. We see players going back to the drawing board as far as sideboards go. One thing to know, I also might think Alex would be bringing something like Dismember in this matchup. I missed it earlier. There's also maybe an argument for the Diabolic Edict. Just removal that does answer these larger threats.
Diabolic Edict is really good against Kirby because he doesn't really produce any tokens. He doesn't have a lot of small creatures.
Mhm.
Any creature he would sacrifice to that is pretty valuable.
Like the smallest creature he has to get rid of his Dark Confidant in that card is just a powerhouse in its own way.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you can maybe like fetch land for a Dryad Arbor in response to bully it up. Maybe that's enough
would
of
be
a
something to watch
consideration
for.
not do
Well,
it.
yeah.
Because you can only
I mean, that would be a counter of Kirby's, but I think that's...
the only issue I have with it is it makes it to where you can only edict Kirby while a knight's on Summoning Sickness. And Troll1298, thanks for the subscription. Thanks for getting there. And again, we appreciate you being with us here with us.
Yep.
But we're gonna have Alex here on the play for the 3rd game, and I anticipate that's going to mean that he's going to be able to get a lot better of a lead. Just the Delver strategy obviously works a lot better when you're on the play.
Yeah, so he should have Dazes in for this game. So,
Yes.
General Delver start of Underground Sea, Deathrite Shaman, Daze whatever you play is...
It looks like Force is out of the deck. Looks like Force is in a sec, and I kind of usually like that in these matchups, especially when you're on the play, bringing the Daze back in, bringing the Forces out. I kind of have a soft spot for, because it's more of a tempo play, and you don't have a lot of resources to just throw away to cards like Forcible.
Okay.
Also, there aren't a lot of must-force cards. There are definitely cards out of Kirby's side that are very powerful that you need to interact with, but none of them are like, I win the game if this is resolves. Except for exactly Chalice.
Yeah, his big... I mean, that still doesn't even win him the game off the bat. I mean, it's... The cards you would want to force are Knight, Green Sun Zenith, getting Knight, and Chalice, and...
Like maybe one of the Planeswalkers, but Daze plays
Yep.
pretty well against those heavy mana Planeswalkers.
And Alex does have more creatures, so he could just swarm a Planeswalker, or try to race with his burn spells.
Alright, so we see Alex on the play here. Spell Pierce in hand, looks like maybe a Cabal Therapy? No, that's the Edict. Land.
Spell Pierce.
Yep, Spell Pierce still in, and I can see the argument for it. There are a lot of non-creature permanents that Kirby might play that matter via the Planeswalkers, via his removal spells outside of Abrupt Decay.
Green Sun Zenith and Chalice of the
Green
Void.
Sun
but-
Zenith. I think there might be enough to warrant that spot if you're only cutting your 4 Force of Wills and bringing in 4 cards. But Delver doesn't flip, but we ponder here. We see True Name Nemesis, Brainstorm, and another Ponder. So I would expect to see Alex drawing the True Name's a little risky because it reveals it to Hand Disruption, but normally the Loam deck can't really play Hand Disruption because it doesn't play with Chalice. So I would assume maybe draw the True Name Nemesis here and then put a cantrip on top, but it looks like we're going for... Maybe put a cantrip on top and the True Name 3rd down? Nope, okay, True Name got drawn here.
Drew the true name.
Yep. And Delver going to get in for 1. Add the beats of draw your Green Sun Zenith as your first draw for turn, or your second draw for turn. Wasteland the land for turn here from Kirby, so I think we might be going for a Dryad Arbor off of this Green Sun and then Wastelanding. There's no 1-drops out of Kirby's deck, really. Interesting to see the Swords to Plowshares in Kirby's deck. I'm going to assume that means that there aren't Chalices. 2 mana here is... Oh, okay. So there are Chalices.
There's Chalice.
And that gets spell pierced. That's really interesting to me. Because usually the Chalice of the Void and the Swords of Plowshares just obviously have their negative synergy of one being the 1-drop and one wanting to countering the 1-drop.
Right.
But I mean, you see Chalice of the Void and Eldrazi Tron decks in Modern, and their deck is like 16 1-drops, or not exactly that, but... Alright, Delver flipped, Pyromancer, and here's a Ponder, and Alex's side of the board looking very threatening. Is that a Gitaxian Probe? So we're going to get another token for free, get to see a look at Kirby's side. We see Wasteland, Bayou, Green Sun Zenith, Dark Confidant, Scavenging Ooze, and Thalia. Smattering of assorted Maverick cards. Kirby picks up a card for turn.
Not sure how Kirby gets out of this one with the leads with Thalia. Maybe next turn is Ooze Confidant.
So there's Thalia, and we're wastelanding the red source. Okay.
We're not Ooze Confidanting next turn. All right.
So now we're telling Alex he has to find mana off cantrips if he wants to do more things. And luckily for Kirby, that means that there won't be a true name coming down this turn. But these cantrips do just produce more elementals, and there is a Delver Secrets that's attacking in the air. So we see Deathrite Shaman, Lightning Bolt, and I didn't get a good look at the third card from this pile. It's Surgical Extraction. All right. So I'm wondering if he's interested enough in any of these cards. Well, you can't cap the Bolt. Surgical costs the mana at least, and the Deathrite's good, but all right, we want it.
I think you keep for the Deathrite so that 2 turns down the road you're guaranteed mana. The only other option there is to shuffle and hope you hit a land.
My only issue with keeping the Deathrite is it means that Alex has no play except for exactly Deathrite Shaman on his following turn. But I suppose he's far enough ahead with Delver Secrets coming over the Thalia. But okay, Kirby here has a Wasteland, and we're going to play Dark Confidant, which is a bit of a dangerous card to play into a Delver. But we also know that Alex has no lands coming, at least we do. And this Deathrite Shaman is just another mana source, and it's a slow mana source at this point.
Well, this isn't too bad. Kirby still needs to find an answer for the Insectile Aberration, otherwise he'll die to it. He has a Deathrite Shaman, so he could start flipping and dealing himself some more damage. So Kirby could be dead pretty quickly. Not if he keeps flipping lands like
Dark
that.
Confidant doing what it does best and never does damage to you. And then a draw for turn.
Now with the Scavenging Ooze, if Kirby has a third land, he can turn off the Deathrite Shaman's ability to make mana. So with the Thalia, he can, if Alex doesn't find another land, which we know he's not next turn at least.
Yeah, correct. He's missing at least one more
it's
time.
just one more turn.
Crocus, and there's a Knight of the Reliquary. Okay. But here, just this issue of, okay, but at least, we're pretty far from Threshold. I was thinking about, well, Knight of the Reliquary can start going towards the...
Right now, Alex wins on his next turn. If he attacks with the Aberration for 3, puts Kirby to 6, end of turn Deathrite down to 4, and then the following turn. So Kirby can stop that by using the Knight to find a Wasteland before Alex gets to next turn to keep the Deathrite Shaman shut down.
But then you go to 1,
but
and
he
there's
has 3 tokens and a young Pyromancer.
The Pyromancer. And also, Alex has a Lightning Bolt in hand here, so if he wants to, we can just go ahead and throw a Bolt to Kirby and put him down to 3, and that's just lethal here. Trigger on the stack, we're going to go ahead and exile one of your lands, and I'm pretty sure Kirby knows what's going on here. All right, Dark Confidant left over in hand, and Alex picks the matchup 2-1.
I think Alex just had too many creatures for Kirby to deal with, and he was too slow with his offense there.
The issue with being a Chalice of the Void deck from the 4-color loam is you don't get to play very efficient removal. You have powerful removal through Abrupt Decay, through Liliana the Veil, that kind of card, but you don't get to play Fatal Push. You don't get to play Swords of Plowshares main deck. And that just makes it to where these Delver strategies do seem to have a way to overrun you. So I may, after watching that match, retract my decision on saying that the 4-color loam looks like a favored matchup against Delver. But that's with the smaller sample size of only seeing 1 or 2 games of it.
Yeah, the Kirby was not able to get Punishing Fire online pretty early, and he only had 1 Mox Diamond start.
Yep. He didn't have his explosive starts, and I'm sure the explosive starts would make it a little bit more favored to him. But I mean, you can't assume that your deck is only good when you draw 1 of your 4 cards.
Oh, right. But
all right,
Alex definitely had creatures turns 1 and 2 every game.
We're going to be moving into round 4, which we're going to see Alex again with Grixis Delver still, and he's going to be playing against Nathaniel with Ad Nauseam. I'm going to assume you're rooting for Alex because Nathaniel beat you earlier.
Yeah, I think Alex is definitely favored here. I mean, he's got
Storm's Boogeyman is these Delver decks.
He's got a lot of ways to interact.
And the main thing here is landing a threat before your interaction, or having interaction to back up your threat. If you're just playing the occasional counterspell and wasteland the game against Storm, you will lose unless you can kill them.
Right. Nathaniel needs to clear Alex's hand pretty quickly of counterspells and win through it.
And that is why Durestas and Cabal Therapies are cards that these decks play. I'm also interested to see if this is a matchup where Night's Whisper is actually good. Because that is a 2-of that he is playing in his main deck.
Yep.
And I remember talking with him beforehand about it, and he said that there were a couple matchups where it was a powerful card. But I'm not exactly sure where. I'm not going to call myself a Storm aficionado in any way, shape, or form. But it just seemed kind of an out-of-place card, and Nathaniel even beforehand did mention that it is kind of an out-of-place card. He's just trying it.
Do you know what he cut for them? Because I saw he was on 3 Duress, 3 Cabal Therapy.
I'm not for certain. I think it was 7 and 8 on Hand Disruption. I think it might have been the
probably
fourth
a couple
therapy.
of cantrips. Maybe 1 cantrip and 1 therapy.
Yeah, I think that's what we're cutting down there. But yeah, we've seen this matchup before plenty of times through other coverage. We've shown it before, just with different players, I believe. But
are they shuffling their decks together?
Yep. That is sure what Alex is doing. But both players got the correct deck, it looks like, because there's Deathrite Shamans in Alex's hand. But play draw definitely matters. The way that Alex is able to pressure definitely matters.
Do we know who's on the play?
I'm not for certain. Nathaniel's opening hand doesn't look great. He's going to keep it, but we're going to lay it on a duress. And we see Delver, double Deathrite Shaman, Bolt, Pyromancer, and a Daze. And I don't think we care about Lightning Bolt.
It really depends on Nathaniel's hand. If he has to go for Ad Nauseam, then the Bolt really matters. Knowledge of the Daze to play around it could be enough to nullify it anyway.
Yep.
So
But yeah,
it all depends on Nathaniel's hand, which we don't see too well.
I don't think there was a
Petal
second
and an
land.
LED.
I think there was single land. And I think there's also a Tendrils and an Ad Nauseam already in it.
I thought I saw the Ad Nauseam. There's a double petal?
Double Petal. Picked up a Therapy. There's a Brainstorm, so we can try to make it better. Interested to see... I suppose it lets Alex do more things on the following turn, but leaving on Deathrite Shaman over Delver. But Nathaniel here just going to go in and Brainstorm. And
All right.
Alex picks up a Daze immediately to answer it, and Nathaniel has no more plays he gets to make this turn. I really just want Alex to have drawn a Wasteland there. Just completely get him out of this game. But Young Pyromancer are going to come down, and we're going to start trying to win the game in that sense. Nathaniel, you have to have something good here. Ad Nauseam in the hand. All right, we picked up a Swamp.
If you were Alex, would you have played the Young Pyromancer there, as opposed to maybe another Deathrite or the Delver and keep the Bolt up?
I
Threaten
kind
the
of
Spell Pierce?
like keeping the Bolt up there. The Young Pyromancer does potentially more damage over the course of turns, but the Delver does more immediate damage.
Alex's hand, as far as we know, only contains the Lightning Bolt for non-creature spells, which he would hold until Nathaniel plays some spells and make them react.
Okay, we drew
not sure
Forcible. That's why Delver stayed in hand. And Nathaniel Cabal Therapy and named Forcible, and he was right. Here comes 2 damage in from Alex. Nathaniel dropping down to 18. And here I'm just going to assume we're going to put just Delver in play. I'm interested to see the tapping, but I suppose that Deathrite Shaman being able to interact is a little bit more important. But okay, Deathrite coming down 2. We attacked for 3 there. We're
Nathaniel's attack once.
Nathaniel's not going to let him go back on that. But not sure what we picked up there from Nathaniel's side. And luckily for him, there's I guess it's good enough.
All right,
Usually
here comes
when your Storm player picks up the tokens.
counters.
All right, Lotus Petal Storm 1, Lotus Petal Storm 2. What else do we got? 2 mana. All right, just 2 mana Dark Ritual. Are we just
So is this
casting or?
ad nauseum?
Yep, we're just casting ad nauseum for 5. We know that it's clear, and we have 18 life in a land drop.
He does get to play a land, but he's down 2 petals.
Yep.
So I guess that has to be.
But we already have the tendrils, so we can't hit a 4. Right. There's a land. Tutor's not great here. We just want a bunch
Tutor's
of.
what he needed.
I mean,
he
we want
needs
a
an
bunch of-
LED, a Dark Ritual.
Okay, so that
and the
lets you
tutor.
Past in Flames. Yeah.
I don't know the exact mana, but he's pretty much got what he needs.
I think we need rituals right now. I think that's our issue because our last card is Tendrils of Agony, the last card that we have in hand.
For Past in Flames, he needs a red. So land Dark Ritual gives you 3 black.
And then Lion's Eye Diamond makes the red.
Lion's Eye Diamond would make you some red, and he got an LED already.
Yep, there's an LED. So we're good. Yep, we have the win lined up. So Ad Nauseam is resolved. Nathaniel's down to 10. Gonna go ahead and Gitaxian Probe. Oh, there's still a bolt over there, huh? Nothing changed. And cast another probe down to 6. Found another LED. That makes this a lot easier. Second LED. I think... No, because we don't have the mana to just go, like, cast my tendrils.
Yeah, he's 1 short of Tendril, so he's going to have to tutor for Past in Flames.
Oh, Alex asked Nathaniel if he played a land, and Nathaniel only kind of responded, and Alex would have conceded if he said yes or no. But Nathaniel gets game 1 there. Just Alex's hand not working out with him. Nathaniel drawing a Cabal Therapy and naming it perfect on the exact turn it needed to happen.
Yep.
And we're going to be moving into sideboard. Which side would you like to take?
Ad nauseum side.
Go to the Storm side. All right. So Alex is down the game, so we'll go over there. I would assume to see 2 Cabal Therapies, pairs with Brainstorm, Gitaxian Probe well, interacts with the hand, important things that he needs to do in this type of matchup. The 2 Fluster Storms, oddly enough, a counterspell that has Storm is very good against Storm. Not hard to figure out there. There's an argument to play Surgical Extraction. I think most people are for it instead of against it.
I would definitely bring it in. It's another way to interact with Nathaniel's deck without having any mana open.
And
Just
if
like
you're
Force
just-
of Will and Daze.
And if you're just able to, like, say, therapy out a tutor and then extraction, it just gets a lot harder for Nathaniel to be able to win. And then I would assume to cards like the 1 Forked Bolt, your True Name Nemesis, and the only reason I say that is because that's kind of a slower win condition for your deck. It's hard for that to be the best way for you to win.
The strong points of True Name being really tough to remove and winning all the creature battles don't really matter here. Because Nathaniel doesn't have creatures to square up against and isn't going to try to kill it.
We have
The
those
best
3
thing
cards.
it does really is pitch to Force of Will.
Yeah.
That's-
And then I would assume 3 Bolts after that. Well, Bolt has the ability to be good at closing games and interacting with Ad Nauseam.
Yep.
It's probably your worst card in this type of matchup. So I would assume the Forked Bolt, the 2 True Names, and 3 of your Lightning Bolts going out, and the 2 Fluster Storms, 2 Cabal Therapies, and 2 Surgical Extractions coming in.
I like it.
And
On
from-
Nathaniel's side, let's see. Got Dread of Night, Fatal Push, Fluster Storm, Surgical, Xanad Swarm, Abrupt Decay, Echoing Truth, Hurkyl's Recall, and Empty. So he wants the Xanad Swarms because post-board Alex is going to have 10 counterspells and Surgical Extractions, likely. Fatal Push, I don't think there's any creatures that he particularly cares about.
That's why
Deathrite
Shaman
could
may
be
be
an
the only
issue
one.
if it can snag a Past in Flames, but
Yeah.
probably Alex will be tapped out from either fighting the counterspell battle against Nathaniel's attempt to win, or playing threats in the first couple turns of the game. Most of Alex's interaction is all counterspells discards, so stuff like the Echoing Truth, the Abrupt Decay, the Hurkyl's Recall aren't particularly good. The Surgical's not good, so maybe
like
just
the-
bringing in the Fluster Storm and the Empty the Warrens.
All right, so those are the 4 that you think to bring in. What about Cunning for the deck for Nathaniel? I would assume the 2 Night's Whispers.
Would you want to cut the Night's Whisper?
I'm not
I mean,
sure. It's a weird
It's
card.
it's card advantage in a matchup, but you're kind of grinding spells. I think Nathaniel needs to be pretty quick with whatever he does, because the more time that Alex has to cantrip and accumulate counterspells,
But also the more
short
time...
games favor Nathaniel. Like, if the game goes long, it's probably going to be trending towards Alex.
But it also gives Nathaniel a lot more time to be able to find his interaction spells via his duress effects and that kind of thing. So it's
Right.
kind of a weird mixture of he wants it to go quick, but he also doesn't mind it going super long. That means he gets to play it safe.
Okay. So what would you suggest cutting on
It's-
Nathaniel's set?
It's weird. Maybe the one copy of Preordain, just kind of these cards that are a little bit here and there. The one Preordain potentially. As far as it goes, like, I really don't know when it comes to Ad Nauseam exactly what you should be bringing in and out. I do see the Surgical Extraction in Nathaniel's opening hand, I think. No, I think I'm just seeing things. I'm hoping at least.
Not sure what he would want it for.
You duress his force, and then you surgical it.
Or he could Cabal Therapy his force.
Yeah.
Get them all anyway.
But Alex here, taking a couple mulligans. Looks like he went down to 5. 2 Dazes in hand, a red card, and we're going to see them all. All right, Flusterstorm, Daze, and Young Pyromancer. So,
Nathaniel requests that he doesn't daze me, bro. I don't think Nathaniel gets through this on turn 1, but then
No.
again, Alex is going to have a very slow game as well.
Absolutely. And Alex also needs to find land to be able to apply pressure. This is that argument of you can have as much interaction to the Ad Nauseam deck as you want. They're going to be able to eventually cobble together a victory if you don't kill them. Land, and here's a Ponder. Would you like to daze this?
I think he needs to.
He's not going for it.
Wow.
We see 2 fetch lands and a black card on top there from Nathaniel. And it looks like we're happy enough with that. I think we picked up the fetch land there.
Oh.
Gitaxian Probe. Okay, so we get perfect information from both sides. Tendrils of Agony, Ad Nauseam, Duress, Dark Ritual, Brainstorm, Gitaxian Probe, and a Polluted Delta. And Alex here finds a Ponder. So we're able to dig for another land, dig for more interaction. This is interesting. So there's a black card on top of Nathaniel's deck because I believe we took the fetch land from our Ponder first so that it couldn't be hand disrupt or whatever the card under it can't be interacted with through the hand. So I'm interested to see what it is on top. I know it's New Border, so it's not something like Cabal Therapy because Nathaniel plays with
Alex gets the Polluted Delta he wants to be able to
Sweet.
Flusterstorm and daze through Nathaniel's next turn.
and Flusterstorm Double Daze even.
Double daze.
Have access to everything if he needs it.
So I think Nathaniel here probably fetches up a black source and duresses.
We might be leading on a Brainstorm.
If
And-
he leads with something other than the... Hell yeah. If he
think you're-
brainstorms, then he doesn't also duress this turn because you don't want to give Alex the value on his dazes.
Okay. And here's a swamp, not going to lose to any wastelands. One basic signed, the other is not. Disappoint.
I don't think either of them are English though.
I mean, that's fine, but if you're going to scribble on one of them, you might as well get someone to scribble on the other.
And at least on camera, we're 1 whiteboarded card to 0. So Nathaniel definitely winning there. Oh, 2 to 0 now.
But Flusterstorm going to get the Duress going to get the Flusterstorm. I'm assuming we're not Flusterstorming the Duress because that doesn't really have any effect. I assume that's what's getting Duressed. But
Right.
all right, so Alex just left with 2 Dazes, and Daze is one of the cards that Nathaniel has a better chance of beating as far as the spell
Alex,
interaction goes.
kind of like you said, I mean, Alex didn't lead this game with a threat, so even though he has these dazes, I mean, the clock is starting now on turn 3. It's
Mhm.
not giving Nathaniel lots of time to make land drops to make the dazes invalid.
And it's not necessarily a quick clock. If like Alex runs these dazes out to like just make guys, it will be. And it looks like that's what we're going to do here. We're going to daze the Brainstorm, and then we're going to daze it again. So Nathaniel knows we have nothing, but now we at least have right now just a 5-turn clock. And that,
right.
I mean, that
Alex,
land makes
Alex
it 4.
has 4 power when he finally fetches. But
Mhm.
Alex having 4 power in play is definitely making the Ad Nauseam worth less. We don't know one card in Nathaniel's hand.
Yeah, there's 1 face down, I believe.
Brainstorm is his draw for turn, so that
Okay,
can let him really reshape his hand.
It's very good. Or no, we know all the cards in hand. We just don't know the.
He drew Brainstorm for turn and
Yeah.
had 1 unknown to us before that.
Oh, okay, yeah, there's 2 cards there. It's really hard to see these black sleeves against the... But here's Gitaxian Probe and a Lightning Bolt out of Alex. It's going to make this clock a lot quicker. Because end of turn here, you can put Nathaniel down to 8 and then attack him down to 3 with 3 tokens in
So what
Young Pyromancer.
Nathaniel really needs is cast Brainstorm now. Hopefully find an LED and an Infernal Tutor, make this very easy to kill him without using Ad Nauseam.
Get something very... Yeah, we need something good. This Brainstorm has a chance. And okay, Alex here in response going to attempt to Wasteland the Misty Rainforest. Make it to where this isn't a perfect Brainstorm, but I don't think it needs to be absolutely perfect for Nathaniel right here.
Right.
So, okay. Grabs a Volcanic Island in response. And Brainstorm here going to resolve. Underground Sea, another Brainstorm, and didn't get a great look at the last card with an old bordered black card.
Dark Ritual?
So, okay, there's 2 Dark Rituals then?
I don't know.
Player saying that Lions Eye Diamond might have been drawn off of a Gitaxian Probe, so there might also be
there is the LED.
Okay, so there's an LED in the hand, so Nathaniel here, now we're counting. There are 2 spells on Storm. There's a Brainstorm and a Gitaxian Probe that have been cast this turn.
So let's see. If he plays a land, a Dark Ritual, he could Ad Nauseam sacrifice LED with Ad Nauseam on the stack and hopefully take less than 7 damage to find.
So we need to find
the rest,
exactly
but
2.
that's-
Alright, so we're getting our Storm counter, we're getting our lands out.
Because of the Wasteland on the fetch to force Nathaniel to fetch, he now can't fetch and wait till next turn to see what he gets as a draw for turn, so he has to act now while he has some life points to do it.
Alright,
To play
so
with.
LED brings our Storm up to 3. And notably, he only needs to get to a Storm of 8 here. Alex is down to 16. Dark Ritual brings us up to a Storm of 4. He might?
Oh, he just gets the Storm off as it is.
Yeah, because we
Brainstorm?
already know we have the Tendrils.
Brainstorm Tendrils make 7, so if the Brainstorm finds any free-to-play spell, he wins.
And I believe that's where we're going. We might be leaving 1 black up and we're casting Ad Nauseam here. Oh, okay. Alex is going to respond with a Lightning Bolt. Okay. So this is the... So both lines are risky.
Now
we
we
know
get to
the
see in the top 3 cards if there was a free spell or not.
We know the top... No, we already know the top 2 from the Brainstorm. They're these.
Okay. Then
Okay.
yeah, Nathaniel plays.
So down to 6.
Good.
Down to 5.
And he cracked Lion's Eye Diamond for 3 blue. Tendrils is in his graveyard, so he has to find another petal or LED in addition to a way to find the Past in Flame.
So we're down to 1. We have a Ponder, though, and we haven't played a land, and we do luckily have a non-fetch land.
And he stopped here.
Well, you have to. You're at 1. Almost any flip kills you. And we do have a Ponder, so we're able to at least look. So Ponder going to see a Gitaxian Probe, a Night's Whisper. Another card. That was a quick shuffle.
Yep.
2 cards that deal damage to draw cards when you're at 1. Not good enough?
Not too good, no.
All right, draws. Was that a Bastard Swarm? And yeah. So we needed the 3rd card down to be something that we could play to be able to storm through the Brainstorm. And I think that's just too dangerous of a question to ask because you already know the top 2 cards are lands. And it is really just what happened there is the Wasteland on that fetch land there actually, I think, won Alex the game effectively. Or it looked like it.
I'm not sure. I don't think Nathaniel had much of an option otherwise. So if he had not Wastelanded and allowed Nathaniel to fetch,
It would have made it to
Nathaniel
where...
would have shuffled away 2 lands.
Okay, so he
The
would have
fetch
still got the
land-
same amount
The
of
fetch land
cards.
would have set him down to...
The fetch line put him down to the number that he was at. He went down to 7.
Put him down to 7. Alex's attack for 5 would have put Nathaniel to 2, and he would not have had Ad Nauseam as an option. So
Yeah, so it doesn't really change any of the Ad Nauseam math
I don't
there.
think Nathaniel passes the turn without trying to win.
Oh, no, not at all. So if... Okay, so the only thing is if you don't have to fetch, then the Brainstorm drawing into the Brainstorm lets you look at 3 new cards, so you don't have to go the ad nauseum route and don't have to spend all your mana doing that. So that's the 2 different parts.
Yep.
But all right, we're gonna go into game 3 with Nathaniel on the play, losing a game that looked like it might have been a pretty favorable game for him, especially with Alex mulling down to 5. But Young Pyromancer's a quick clock once it starts running, and you have some free spells.
Yep.
And Gaming Gummy Shoes, there's a easy fix for that. You just play more Magic.
This is the second best format to be watching and playing.
I think with you in the group, I think it'll probably be not too soon until we get some of what you believe is the best format to be on.
Magic as Richard Garfield intended? Well, that would be 93, 94.
Have you played any games of that?
No, actually, I have not played a single game of it,
Okay.
despite getting into Vintage 3 years ago.
Now, I can't remember, because I'm friends with a lot of people that invented the format.
Okay.
Do you have to play with cards that were, like the printings of the cards that were available back then? Because I remember...
Different communities have their own rule sets. There's, I think, the Eternal Central has their own set of rules. Europe, the European community has their own set.
Yep.
What I'm used to hearing the most is you may play reprints as long as it has the original border.
Okay.
So nothing that's been reprinted with a new border and
Okay.
the original picture. Game started while we were talking about older Magic cards than these. Nathaniel leads with paying 2 life for a Gataxian Probe.
And we see a pretty good hand of Flusterstorm, Daze, Young Pyromancer, Lightning Bolt, and lands. The only glaring issue is if Nathaniel could have gone for it, Alex would be dead. But there aren't a lot of hands post-sideboard that just kill people on turn 1. You have to play more of the interaction game. So here a Ponder.
The very first game I ever played with Ant, I got to Swamp, Dark Ritual, ad nauseum.
Okay.
So they're there.
they're definitely there. But
Nathaniel would not have boarded out anything that allows him to get the turn 1. So he's just as fast as he was, but...
All right, so a Ponder here, and Alex is going to go ahead and play a fetch land as his land. So telling his opponent the land that so playing the fetch land in a hand, 1 mystery card. So Daze now online, Flusterstorm now online.
With Daze and Flusterstorm for Alex, Nathaniel needs to spend a few more turns to set up.
Absolutely.
He had a window on turn 1, but his hand wasn't there for it.
Here's the second Ponder. Alex is okay with that. We see Lion's Eye Diamond to land and something black as the last card. But Nathaniel happy enough with it, and there's a Lotus Petal, Cabal Ritual in hand. There's going to be a Lion's Eye Diamond coming up. It seems pretty good. Now, the question here is, does Alex go for the Pyromancer? And it looks like we're going to. So now our only interaction, unless we drew a Force of Will, is this Daze.
So would you have waited a turn on the Pyromancer?
I don't think so, because you have to find a way to kill your opponent. And Nathaniel's going to shuffle away the other 2 cards.
But dropping down to just the Daze gives Nathaniel a window here to play around your Daze and kill you anyway.
Okay, yeah. I think that probably waiting again. 1 turn. It's very easy. I do it a lot. I've been made fun of multiple times for leaning while in the booth, and it's super easy to do.
Yeah.
Like, I need to see if I get a better angle, right?
Nathaniel shuffling his hand a lot. I think I see a Petal, a Dark Ritual, and LEDs. 2 petals and an LED. So he doesn't seem to have a tutor.
I think
he has all the mana he needs to play around the Daze.
I think there's a Cabal Therapy in there too, so he'll be able to pick apart.
Therapy for Flusterstorm. Hope you don't see a Force when the cards are revealed and then go off, assuming you can draw the tutor.
Well, so if you were going off on that turn, so if he had a Ritual there, he would have been able to go off, and we would have been able to just go Therapy for your Daze, or cast Therapy on Force of Will, assuming you can play around Daze. And you would have just been able to pretty much get everything that you needed to go off there. But second on Pyromancer are now holding up the mana for the Flusterstorm. This is getting a lot harder.
Nathaniel has a Brainstorm, but
Okay.
I think if Nathaniel goes for Brainstorm, then it's good for Alex to cast the Fluster. For Nathaniel to force the Brainstorm, he has to fetch and also tap both of his lands, which would prevent him from comboing off this turn, most likely, unless the Brainstorm is perfect.
So Nathaniel here thinking about leaning on a Duress. And that is what we're going to do. So would you like to interact with this? Alex looks like he's thinking about dazing. All right? Daze your Duress. Nathaniel would like to pay for that.
even though, I mean, this is all pretty good for Alex. I mean, allowing him to pay there takes a mana away from him this turn, gives you 2 more tokens than just the Fluster alone would have.
Now we're at 4 tokens, and
he also flustered the Duress.
So either he's playing to he's either playing to bluff that one of his unknowns is a force or other interaction, or he's just using it because he has nothing else to do with his mana, and the Duress is going to take it anyways.
The Duress would have either taken the Flusterstorm or the Lightning Bolt. This way, Alex got to choose which one it was going to be. Got to make 2 more tokens this turn, because if the Flusterstorm got Duress, he wouldn't get the 2 more tokens. Now he has 8 damage for next turn, up to 11 with the Lightning Bolt,
And he keeps his other 2 cards hidden.
Yes.
Which is also very important here when you're dealing with Ad Nauseam trying to combo off. Because I think this is the turn that if Nathaniel has the ability to go for it, he has to go for it now. But I don't think we do. I see Lion's Eye Diamond, Tendrils of Agony, Lotus Petal, Cabal Ritual. Has Nathaniel played a land this turn? But I don't think there's enough cards to keep a land as one of the cards. Because we do have a high storm count. We do currently have a storm count of 4 because Alex played 2 spells that interact.
Yep. And Nathaniel does have the Tendrils in hand. Or in hand while brainstorming.
So those go on top. What else? All right. Land is storm count 5. Oh, no, this is storm count 6. It's 6. Yep. 2 spells, Duress, Lotus Petal, Brainstorm, Lotus Petal.
And here, Cabal Ritual Tendrils kills him.
Cabal Ritual, Lion's Eye Diamond, Tendrils. Yeah, that's lethal. Assuming that there isn't a Daze effect or a Force.
Oh, no, that's only 9.
We're putting Alex to 1.
6, 7, 8, 9. It might be the only way he gets to continue in this game.
Yeah,
and he's not going to have the storm next turn unless he can.
But how do we win from here? Alex has a huge clock, and sure you
hope
gain
Alex
18.
fetches.
I don't think Alex is a Ritual Resolves.
Maybe this is show him the Tendrils and hope he concedes.
So your Lion's Eye Diamond is still in play. So a Past in Flames draw is good.
Yep.
Okay. Tendrils you for 18. Alex goes to 1.
Oh, and Nathaniel reminds Alex that he's at 19 life.
But no, Alex goes to 1.
You were so close, Nathaniel.
Goes up to 31.
Oh, okay. Alex may have looked at the wrong life total.
So 30, that's a 4-turn clock. So Nathaniel has 4 turns right now, but it gets shortened a bit by this Lightning Bolt if Alex plays it on any of these turns.
I think Alex needs to play the Bolt.
Well,
before his next turn.
Yeah, I mean, we want to shorten the clock as much as possible. All right, so we need a Past in Flames. We need a
Tutor or a Past in Flames or an Ad Nauseam would be all right.
Well, Ad Nauseam doesn't do anything here. You can't cast it.
Okay.
Yep. Lion's Eye Diamond only works for
well, I think he just drew a Cabal Ritual.
Okay, Cabal Ritual's good. Nathaniel down to 12. Surgical Extraction Tendrils.
That should do it.
That's lethal.
Unless he brought in... Yeah, he's not going to get enough storm to empty the Warrens for a way around those Pyromancers.
Nathaniel just was one off of the Tendrils of Agony there, and Alex was able to capitalize at 1 life to win the matchup for Nathaniel 2-1.
Yep.
And that was a pretty good game to go out on for it.
Go see that.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's your 2 games.
Yep.
And I think
who's
it's
up next?
Nathaniel's turn. So we'll have you wait here for just a second until he gets in here.
Yep.
And so we got to see a pretty interesting match. The Grixis stuff versus Ad Nauseam usually seems like a pretty interesting match to watch. There's a lot of interaction from both sides. There's a lot of play against your play and my play against your play against my play kind of magic. And it's always just kind of fun. All right, so Nathaniel's in here. So let's get him on here.
Yay.
And we're going to watch Connor on Maverick versus Sebastian on Death and Taxes. So we have green taxes, effectively, right? That's pretty much what the deck is.
Yes.
All right, well, welcome in, Nathaniel. How was that?
It was alright. The Tendrils for 18 was... Looking at the board, there was a good chance I wasn't dead the next turn, but I wanted to capitalize on the storm that had been built up that turn, and I figured that the 18 life would at least give me a few turns to try to draw on something. I still have 6 mana left over. So I thought that was my last line of winning. Didn't get there, but what can you do?
All right. Well, we're gonna see a interaction-heavy matchup between Maverick and Death and Taxes. So we see the Maverick list. Overall, everything in this main deck looks rather stock.
Yep.
Nothing out of the ordinary all too much. The sideboard also pretty simple. Nothing all too special here. And from the Death and Taxes side, I think it's a little bit much of the same.
Yep, nothing real spicy here. This is a matchup that's going to be a lot of each person trying to get board presence. Connor's deck is a little bit stronger at it. He has more tools. He has cards like Night of the Reliquary and different angles he can attack it. And some of the effects that D&T has doesn't affect this deck as strongly as it does other decks. Like Thalia isn't as good in this matchup, obviously.
Well, both decks being a Thalia deck,
yeah,
I would assume.
Obviously. The mana denial strategy is a little bit hard when they're playing cards that ramp their mana as well as their own game plan. So it's a little bit hard to fight them on that axis, which leaves you into this weird position where you have to outmaneuver your way through combat a lot of times and try to keep your board presence up while they're keeping their board presence up. It's a lot of just on-board things.
And it's a little bit harder for Death and Taxes in these type of matchups to be able to play towards that game.
Yes.
Their game plan very heavily revolves around making your opponent stumble, all that kind of thing. And without that being your active game plan, you're just a deck of 1/1s, 2/1s, and some equipment.
Yeah.
And Maverick also just has cards like Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah, that is correct. And that card can be a bit of an issue for most fair decks.
So we're going to go ahead and see this. And after this, we're going to watch 2 fair matchups right in a row. We're going to watch this matchup, and then we're going to watch the 4-color Loam versus Maverick matchup.
Yeah, that matchup's going to be a little bit interesting. I feel like that matchup is kind of the opposite of this one, where I think Connor in X, his game plan better than Sebastian does, and their game plans are similar enough. I think that the Loam deck enacts the plan that Maverick's trying to do a little bit better.
It's the usual argument of when you have 2 decks that are similar, the deck that goes slightly bigger usually wins. Like when you have like your mono red aggro deck versus your mono red aggro that has kind of a mid-range top end.
Yeah.
Your mid-range end usually wins because they draw Chandra on 4 and you draw Zergo Bell Smasher or something on 4.
It's that basic argument, and I think that's what we're going to see here. But that's not to say it's not an enrolled matchup for Sebastian in this matchup or for Connor in the next matchup. It's just a little bit harder for them to pull it out.
Play draw, something that probably also matters a lot.
Play draw matters a lot. It's something that you can mitigate a little bit, but if one person gets really far ahead early, it's going to be hard to catch back up.
Connor's opening hand looks like we have a Deathrite Shaman, a Birds of Paradise, Mother of Runes, Wasteland, a couple pretty decent cards. And from Sebastian's side, there's at least a Phyrexian Revoker, and the most important one,
Aether Vial, which
an Aether Vial
allows him to play the instant speed creature game, which can go a long ways in this deck. In fact, that's one of the main engines of this deck.
Connor here picking up a Green Sun Zenith for the draw, looking to play 2 mana. That's down for a Scavenging Ooze. And here's a Mother of Runes to protect it.
Yep. So this start looking really good from Connor here.
Absolutely. And Sebastian's second land looks like it's non-basic, so it will be checked by a Wasteland.
Yep, and right now Connor's just up on mana. He has a decent threat, and that Mother of Runes is going to go a long way here.
Sebastian has his own Wasteland, but this isn't really a situation where you can Wasteland because Sebastian just has more permanence.
Connor has more.
Oh yeah, sorry, Connor does.
And also, even if you Wasteland him, he still has the Birds of Paradise.
So alright, 2 mana. Here's an Umezawa's Jitty. It looks a little off color there.
This card can be very good in the matchup, but not from this position. Like, it's going to help him if he starts getting his way back into this, but boy, this is not looking
Getting back into this one, huh? You think that's where we're going?
I think that Connor's already way too far ahead in order to...
We did try to resolve an Out of the Reliquary on 2 lands.
Yes. That was caught. Bad on his part, but it doesn't matter a ton.
So Sebastian does have Phyrexian Revoker for the Knight of the Reliquary here, so we can't, like, just tutor up something powerful.
Yeah. He can prevent Connor from getting that engine going online, and he can put a Stoneforge Mystic into play this turn via his Aether Vial. So he is going to have a decent turn here, and it does kind of put them closer to being a state of parity, because Sebastian can very soon get into Batterskull and also start using that Umezawa's Jitte.
Using the Jitty is definitely going to be something that has the potential to be very powerful here. That type of card is always just kind of what you want in these creature mirrors.
Yep.
Revoker going to come down, named Now the Reliquary. Jitty going to get equipped to the Phyrexian Revoker. And Revoker can't be protected from a Mother of Runes.
This is correct. Now, one thing of note, by doing this line, Sebastian is choosing not to put a Stone Forge Mystic in play, which means he won't be able to get a Battle Skull in play for some number of turns.
Okay.
He's making that concession because this makes combat a little worse for Connor's side, and that does make sense.
But it does progressively get better as Connor plays more lands,
Yes.
plays more cards, his knights grow, they get bigger.
Yes.
If Connor attacks with Knight of the Reliquary here and Revoker blocks, sure, the Revoker will be able to check the Knight of the Reliquary.
It will, but at that point, then Connor can start going a Scavenging Ooze, and you have
Mhm.
more problems going on for you. And also, if you block with your Phyrexian Revoker, you're back to the point that you don't have creature in play.
It's just definitely not looking like the place Sebastian wants to be right now.
Yeah, it's definitely not the place he wants to be. He hasn't completely lost the game yet by any stretch of the imagination, but he's certainly in not a great spot.
So here's a Green Sun Zenith for 2 here, which I kind of find interesting. I would think maybe another large Knight of the Reliquary would be good here, but I guess that's not something you need. We'll do the Qasali Pride Mage in his deck.
Yes. So if he gets the Qasali Pride Mage here, that's going to go a pretty long ways.
Let's get rid of that Umazawa's Jidea.
It just makes sense. And now at this point, if Sebastian wants to, he can kill the Scavenging Ooze in combat if he decides to attack. But I'm imagining Connor's just going to slam in there for 4.
I assume Ooze is going to wait a turn so that we can grow to a 3/3.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, he could attack in there and offer this trade, and like, even that won't be that good for him because once the Knight's unchained, then you're facing your own issues.
Interesting. We're going to go ahead and attack here. I'm kind of... So do you block the Scavenging Ooze here with your Revoker? Or do you think you need to keep it?
Like, I think you take the block here. You need to start whittling down their board, and yes, you could just take the damage and keep their Knight locked down, but at the same time, you need to start handling what they're doing.
Especially because there is a Mother of Runes that's running on Connor's side of the field, and that's going to make it hard for you to be able to favorably interact with any cards from his side. Vile here going up to 3. Not sure what we're pulling in on this turn. Flicker Wisp not looking all that great at the moment.
Flicker Wisp gets checked by the Mother of Runes if it's going to target one of Connor's creatures,
Mhm.
and flickering the Stoneforge Mystic or land or anything doesn't seem all that impressive right now.
Well, that's exactly like what he needs to be doing here. Here's Sword of Fire and Ice off the Stoneforge Mystic as our tutor.
Yep. Now, Connor's deck does have the main board Dark Depths, correct?
Correct.
So he
So we
does
can
have
just go
that.
for it right now.
He does have the option available to him starting now. He does have to worry about Flicker Wisp into either 2 Flicker Wisps or Flicker Wisps and a Swords Plowshares.
Okay.
That's really the main thing he needs to worry about here. But at the same time, Flicker Wisp is going to be a little weird for him regardless of what he does.
And that's a lot of cards to ask for Sebastian to have at the moment, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
But we're just going to go ahead and go for another Mother of Runes. We have the mana to do both, actually. So
Yeah.
double Mother of Runes makes it a lot harder if Connor's able to untap with this.
He might choose to just be patient and use the Knight next turn. And that's what he's going to do. Go ahead, set up double protection. That makes it very unlikely Sebastian's able to do anything about the 2020.
And I do appreciate the warning that it is starting to sleet and that we should be careful.
Yep.
I definitely need to be careful driving all the way back up to the Christiansburg Mountains.
Yeah, I prefer you not to wreck. That'd be bad. Probably be worse for you than for me, but like I'd be a little
It'd be pretty... I would also be upset, actually.
When you...
Another Cavern of Souls here. One of my favorite things about Death and Taxes is just like the mana base that this monocolor deck has. How many non-basics are in it, and how
yeah.
like Blood Moon's actually fine against you.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like there's a lot of monocolor decks like this where it's like
Mhm.
they should be really well suited to be Blood Moon decks, but they can actually have issues with them.
Yeah. Yep, Savannah gonna get cracked by the Knight of the Reliquary. Assume Dark Death's gonna come down, and we're just gonna go for it here.
Yep, Connor choosing not to go for the plan of waiting on it, because at this point I think he's using the line of thought that if he untaps with the 2 Mother Runes, even if he doesn't have the 2020, he's still in a fine spot.
Well, sure, you're losing 2 lands, but you're just up so much. And here's a guy. Sebastian says, okay.
And
Connor would like to attack with his guy. Vile. He saw the line. I guess Sebastian can't win if your opponent sees the line.
Alright, so Connor took that first one, kind of what we expected there.
Mhm.
Being on the play did matter a lot. He was able to curve 1 mana, 1 drop into 1 drop, 2 drop into 3 drop, and that was really good for his side.
If I had any idea which scene was the deck list, I'd pull it up.
I'm pretty sure I can figure out, but I don't want to like create a bunch of static. And we're gonna have Kirby go over there, so if the stream goes down, we can all
If
blame
the stream
Kirby.
goes down, we can all blame Kirby. Everyone collectively prepare yourself to blame Kirby. Let's hope that we do have the poll with the deck lists up. No,
Or he's like, nah, I don't get
no
it.
worries.
All right. That's fine.
Do you remember their sideboards verbatim?
Not particularly.
Verbatim.
Verbatim, definitely not.
I think I heard the door open.
I hear
in just a
the
second.
tippity tap of Koi's shoes.
Alex Scoot.
I mean, to be fair, it is interactive Magic.
Connor won.
Also, Pain Train.
1,000 bits.
1,000.
We
Look at
appreciate
you go.
that very much.
You're winning.
Definitely beating Gusick out, and somebody needs to beat Connor out. Just somebody donate 501. Whatever. But here are the list. Which side would you like to take?
I'll take the taxes
The
side.
taxes side. All right, so go ahead and
All
start.
right, and I think we have Bill in the comments, so this will be great. So from Sebastian's side, he does have a Path to Exile, which can be used to remove from creatures on the opponent's side. Council of Judgment, a little bit of the same, and getting Ally of Zendikar is seeming pretty good here if you're going for the mid-range plan. I'm not going to lie, I have zero idea what Holy Light does. Can you please fill me in?
2 and a white, sorcery. Non-white creatures get -1/-1.
Yeah, no, so that's not great here. So I do like Gideon, I like the Council of Judgment, and I like the Path to Exile. Thalia seems a little medium here. I'm not positive on that statement, but it seems like it doesn't really affect either side. And
Yeah, I assume it's coming out of both decks.
yeah. If you bring in the Gideons specifically and other things like that, you probably want to take out your Thalias. And beyond that, cut one other assorted card. Maybe the Mirran Crusader seems fine.
Sanctum
because
Prelate?
Sanctum Prelate. There it is. There's that one drop. That one up. So that's probably what my cut would be. If anyone in chat wants to correct me, feel free.
And can we scoot the Maverick side up a bit, just so we can get all the cards on there? All right, we're going to go and pull the list up. All right, so for the Maverick side, I would assume the Abrupt Decay, just extra interaction. Reclamation Stage, there's actually a decent amount of cards that can hit.
Yep.
All the artifact equipments, Aether Vial, Fraction Invoker, there's a couple different cards. Garruk Relentless is
I like
probably
it.
going to be very powerful if it's actually able to come down. And I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe the Batter Skull come in, be able to play the later game.
Yep.
Just because there will be some games where both players just play a long enough game state to where a card like Batter Skull will be very powerful.
Yeah, that's correct. What do you feel about a card like Blessed Alliance in this matchup?
Blessed Alliance is interesting. Untapping your guys to block after you've attacked to give pseudo-vigilance seems powerful.
It's also untapping your Knight or untapping your Mother also seems pretty strong.
Absolutely, and I think that usually when you think about Blessed Alliance, you think about make your opponent sacrifice a creature.
Yeah.
You think about playing it as sacrifice an attacking creature, and that is normally what that card reads.
Yeah.
In matchups like this, or with decks like this specifically, the untap up to 2 target creatures actually has a very important line of text.
That being said, and also the sacrifice clause can come up.
Yes.
It can become relevant in situations where you both playing the attack with one creature Mother plan, in which case
Mhm.
this gets around Mother runes and it can kill one creature regardless of how big it is.
And it's very good against the Flicker Wisp side
Yep.
of the Death and Taxes way path to victory, or just also good against Batter Skull Germs if you're in a situation
Yes.
where you need to use it there.
So I could certainly see that card. It wouldn't necessarily be my first pick, but if you have more cards to take out, I can see
Mhm.
bringing that card in.
All right, so as far as post-sideboard games go, do you still think we're in favor of Connor?
So I think that we're still in favor of Connor, but I do think Sebastian does gain a fair amount. The Gideons are really strong. If you're
Mhm.
able to get a Gideon on an even board or a board which you're better in, then you're going to carry that game.
Absolutely. Gideon is one of those cards that it's able to catch you up in games where you're losing. It's able to just make a stall game into a winning game.
Yep.
And it also just has that chance to just make it to where it snowballs so far out of control
Yep.
when you're already winning.
Now, Sebastian's going to start on Mother of Runes. Connor has the option to start with a Mother of his own, or he can put down a Bird's Paradise.
Do you think that Birds of Paradise is a more important card most of the time?
So I feel like it depends on your hand. If you're trying to set up something really quick, like a turn 3, then yes, I like playing the Bird better,
Mm-hmm.
but I think getting the Mother active quicker with the way that Connor's hand is positioned, I like a little bit more.
All right. Sword Splasher is going to answer Connor's Mother of Runes, and Sebastian doesn't have any follow-up plays, just a Rashadan Port to pair with his Horizon Canopy.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
2 lands are not friends.
No. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Sebastian's board state right now. He does have the Mother of Runes. He has no way of really cheating in creatures, i.e. an Aether Vial.
So what you're saying is that you're not a fan of his board state specifically because there's not an Aether Vial?
Well, alright, so there's more to it than that. There are plenty of times where Death and Taxes can look good without Native Owl. But when you starting off on 1 drop on turn 1, and then turn 2 playing Swords, turn 3 you have nothing really on board, and your opponent's going to turn 4 play Garruk Relentless.
It definitely looks a lot worse. Sebastian here is 3 mana. Here is Recruiter of the Guard. And we're going to find a Stoneforge Mystic off of that. Okay. So that's going to give Sebastian the ability to, in the future, find some real threats.
Yeah.
Which is something that he needs, but right now he just has 1/1s.
Yeah. Now, that being said, Connor can start getting ahead if he deploys his Garruk, but he's choosing not to, instead just going for the Wasteland.
And he targets the port, which I find kind of interesting.
I'm honestly not a big fan of that, because now Sebastian gets to be in the position where he's the one who starts developing his board more.
Mm-hmm. Containment Priest going to flash in to block this Recruiter, and I actually like Containment Priest out of Connor's side. I'm not sure if it's something that you brought up, but being able to make it to where you can flash in response to a Aether Vial activation, it doesn't make it to where Sebastian exiles a guy.
No, it doesn't. It was one of those cards that wasn't mentioned, but yes, it can have some nice utility here, and Sebastian's not going to activate his Mother Runes here. No reason to protect your 1/1.
No, your 1/1 is not that valuable. Not valuable enough to give your opponent the ability to interact with your mother.
Yeah.
But Sebastian here going to go ahead and play another port, and here is a Stoneforge Mystic, and I assume that's going to tutor up a Batterskull here.
Yeah, at this point, he can't really play the Umezawa Shite game very well, and Connor's side looks to be kind of medium against the Batterskull plan.
What does Containment Priest read?
This is a solid question.
If a creature would enter the battlefield if it was not cast,
Then the Batterskull plan is
Batterskull does nothing?
Yeah.
a non-token creature.
Non-token.
It says, okay, that's what I'm thinking, but yeah. Non-token creature with ETB,
Okay, then.
it wasn't cast exile.
Okay,
Okay.
I was correct.
Very important.
Yes, very important. This card would be a lot better, though.
If it just also
I'll bring it
counted
in
tokens?
against... I'll just mainboard it. Young Pyromancer, yes. And response to trigger, no.
Cool 2 mana 2/1. Here's my 2 mana 2/2.
Yeah.
Get wrecked, idiot.
Yeah. So, it does have definitely some play here, though.
So, Sebastian has 4 mana available here. End of turn, Connor's going to activate Thespian Stage. And I don't know what we're targeting here.
I'm also not
I wish we
positive.
were pointing. Pointing would make this so much easier. Okay, it's a Horizon
Horizon
campaign.
Campaign. Yep.
All right, so Rashad and Port going to take down the Savannah, and the Savannah going to be used to crack the Horizon stage. But Connor here picking up 2 cards before his turn, but his hand right now is pretty land heavy.
Yeah, his hand is pretty land heavy, and at this point, I don't think he really has a good check to this Batterskull. Like, this Batterskull is going to run rampant on him.
It's definitely going to be a problem. Okay, so there is a Knight of the Reliquary at least, and Knight is a large creature. Knight is currently a 6/6.
Knight is definitely a really large threat, and he can deploy the Garruk next turn. The Garruk is a little awkward in face of active Mother Runes, though.
Well, so can I just say, Sebastian's taken like 6 damage from this Horizon Canopy.
Oh yeah, like, Horizon Canopy can deal you a lot of damage.
Or was there a turn where, I think there was a turn where Containment Priest attacked.
I don't believe there has been, but there may have been a turn where he attacked. I'm pretty sure he flashed in to block, and... No, he probably did get in one turn.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so a Germ Token comes down with the Batterskull, and it looks like there's a Council's Judgment, a Karakas, and I can't get a good look at the 3rd card in Sebastian's hand.
Council of Judgment, though, definitely not bad here.
Yep, gets rid of this Knight of the Reliquary, which is something you need to do here.
Gets rid of the Knight of the Reliquary, keeps Connor on the back foot,
And you still have the ability to activate this port.
Yep.
So, Council Judgment, what do you think Sebastian's going to vote for?
Probably that Knight of the
What do you
Reliquary.
think Connor's going to vote for?
Also that Knight of the Reliquary.
It's strange.
Yeah. It's weird how that works.
He doesn't want to get rid of 2 of his permanents?
Apparently not. Alright, now Sebastian's gonna go and start running the Batterskull plan. Gonna tap down Connor's land on his upkeep.
Lose 1, Sebastian. Ding yourself. Another Containment Priest, huh?
You tap the Horizon
We figured it out. Connor is very confused.
Connor thought he did something wrong.
But Connor is left over here with a Dryad Arbor, Abrupt Decay, Garruk Relentless, and another land. So Abrupt Decay doesn't have any targets because of this Mother of Runes at the moment. This Garruk isn't really good because of this Mother of Runes. So are we double blocking? And yeah, definitely something that I think you would just say okay to. Sebastian goes up to 21, and are we equipping or are we just going to keep this port plan?
I'm not positive. It looks like he's gonna go for the equip plan, which
Equip on
I
Stoneforge.
like more.
Absolutely. So I'm interested to see maybe not an attempt on end of turn Abrupt Decay there, and then untap and...
Alright, sorry, little bit of a disruption there, but Connor's probably gonna go ahead and slam down that Garruk maybe finally.
So here if he went end of turn, Abrupt Decay, target your Stoneforge Mystic. Sebastian uses his Mother of Runes to protect it.
Yep.
You then get to untap and Garruk his Mother of Runes. And then you can throw a Dryad Arbor in front of this, a Dryad Arbor or a bird in front of this Stoneforge Mystic. And that lets you start making Death Touch Wolves on the Garruk. But here he's just going to go ahead and go for the, I think, the fight on Mother.
Yep. And this is going to go and prompt a protection here.
And then there's still an Abrupt Decay. Okay, so we can still make this play, but if we don't flip our Garruk, which I actually don't like.
So the thing is, though, yeah, you don't flip your Garruk, and you can't protect your Garruk because you won't have an untapped creature after all is said and done.
This is just this sequencing is just a lot. Well, has Connor played a land? I guess he has. Okay, so we got rid of Mom, but now we're out of real cards.
Yeah. So if he had done the Abrupt Decay end of turn, he'd have 2 blockers left over, which would mean he could actually protect his Garruk and maybe start getting somewhere with his 2/2s and well, actually at that point he'd be making 1/1.
Alright, so there's sword. Attack face? I guess we don't really care about this Garruk that much.
So
and we get to draw a card? I guess. So that flips Garruk.
which allows him to start making 1/1 Death Touch wolves.
Resolve your effect. Force the resolve of the effect. But importantly, which Garruk?
Also, it does flip when it...
It's whenever it's below 3.
Does it have almost ability?
No, it is when Garruk is below 3, he flips. Can we pull him up real quick just to make sure? When he has 2 or fewer loyalty counters, transform him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played a lot of this card in Standard.
I played against this card a lot in Standard.
It's just immediately.
Yep.
Yeah, so Garruk the Veil Curse is the card named by Pithing Needle. Luckily, that part doesn't matter because I think Connor just picked up an Abrupt Decay, so we can get rid of the Needle, and Garruk can start making Death Touch Wolves. And those Death Touch Wolves are going to very, very favorably check this Batterskulled Stoneforge Mystic.
Yep. So, that's been resolved by one of our in-house judges.
One of many.
One of many.
Death Touch Wolf comes in. And just... Alright, so lucky for Connor, the way Sebastian played made it to where he was still able to produce the exact same game plan that he might have the other turn.
So I feel like there's a little bit of... I think Sebastian got a little greedy on the pack. Yes, you get to draw the cards.
I don't understand the face attack.
Like, you get to draw a card, you get to put Connor a really low life total, but you know you're going to start getting brickwalled really quickly.
The guy is just make a 2/2 every turn. And it's literally Gideon. He plays against a lot of Gideon.
Now, there's the argument that Connor was low on cards, and he did have a Pithing Needle, so he's just trying to race in this game, but I'm still not sold on it.
All right, so Flickerus, Death Touch Wolf gets taken away. Sebastian gains another 7, goes up to 34.
Pithing Needle was on the backside of Garruk. Sorry, I was responding to that. What are those?
That's right. The weird way that Pithing Needle interacts with double-face cards.
Yeah.
Just double-face cards have so many weird rulings.
Double-face cards, they're neat, but also kind of awful.
Right. So now the way that the game is set up, Sebastian currently is threatening lethal. Connor has to have an answer for this Flicker Wisp. The Flicker Wisp plus sword is exactly 7 damage.
Yep. I feel like we're going to go ahead and get on to our next game here.
No, because there's a Qasali Pride Mage and Garrett can demonic or edict tutor away his bird.
Yes, he can do that if Connor sees the line.
Also, just bird blocks the Flicker Wisp at the moment. So Death Touch Wolf plus that might actually be the better line for this point.
Yeah.
Here's Wasteland. Wasteland
And-
takes the canopy, so there's no redraws from Sebastian.
Yep, this makes it so Sebastian only has the top of his deck. And kind of, it's good for Connor, but at the same time, you'd prefer something a little more proactive than just
Absolutely.
destroying his 6th land.
Well, destroying a redraw, I think, is a little bit...
Destroying a
better.
redraw, yes, but at the same time, like, I prefer to be interacting with the board, not with his land.
Absolutely. But yeah, Sebastian here attacks with both of his creatures. Death Touch Wolf gets to trade with the Stoneforge Mystic, so I'm not sure that the Stoneforge Mystic is actually going to get in combat here. 5 mana. Okay, so we're going to quit. This is pretty good here. Attacked for 9. Sebastian gains 9. Connor has to block. But now Connor can sacrifice the Wolf to get the Qasali Pride Mage.
Yep.
But the Pride Mage is no longer good enough because both equipments.
This is correct.
I believe we're going to go to the 3rd game here.
Now, if Connor's able to pull a removal spell,
Okay.
then he's fine.
Is there a creature removal spell in his deck?
He only brought in 1 Abrupt Decay.
Okay.
and-
No, I mean like something they could tutor here.
Oh, something. Oh, you mean a removal spell that is a creature? I. I mean, so at this point, oh, there's also a knight. That's actually pretty decent here.
No, I know he's like not in a terrible position for this because there's a Mazavith in Connor's deck,
Yeah. Once
but there's a Wasteland and a Port, so Mazavith isn't great.
this whole thing is a little awkward.
Oh my god, he just had a demonic tutor sacrificing a permanent to find a Birds of Paradise to survive.
Yeah, he's just kind of scraping by every turn.
Draw for turn. What do we got, Connor? How do we scrape by again? Because you need to deal with both the Wasteland and the Port out of your opponent to be able to start using the Mazavith as a real card.
He can do it in combat though to at least get 1.
He gets 1 draw. Okay, so he drew Zealous Persecutions. That one not going to have much of an effect here.
No,
Also, just notably,
that is fair.
Connor has to win the game at one point.
He does, but
His opponent is at 60 after this combat.
he's going to 60. But
There's no more Cespian stage. This is in the graveyard. There's one Raminap Excavator in Connor's deck.
let's not focus on the small details.
That's a big detail.
No, it's not.
You
I think
have to win the game.
you're exaggerating winning the game.
All right, so Connor tutors here. Here's a Mazavith. Maze your guy.
It's not an amazing play here from Connor, but it gets him by this turn.
Kirby here with the deep sigh. Okay. So, but Mazavith no longer works because of Rashad Import.
Yep. So now we just have another point of I hope my draw stuff is good enough.
I don't know what it is anymore. Mother of Runes, eh?
So he can't
We'll play that one.
survive this turn.
Yeah, because there's the Wasteland and the Port. There's just so many different situations here. So Garrett can sacrifice something to go get a Ramunap Excavator to play a Wasteland out of Connor's graveyard to Wasteland the Port, but the Mazavith still gets ported this turn.
Now here's the question. 'Cause
Uh-huh.
I wasn't paying attention. How many Birds of Paradise are in Connor's deck?
I think 2.
2. So he's already used both of his Birds of Paradise.
There might be a 3rd. We're not getting it, so there's probably not a 3rd. What are we doing, Connor?
He's thinking, is what he's doing.
This is a silly game.
Sure is. We also randomly, if this game finishes, then we're gonna have a 3rd game.
Have another silly game. Pride Mage isn't good enough here because both of the equipments are lethal.
So Rex Age destroys one of the equipments.
Cool.
Sure.
Powerful. Maybe he thinks Sebastian doesn't understand how interacting with lands work.
I mean, it's possible. Like, sometimes you do play to your outs. Like, if you're a large tournament, sometimes
Oh, no,
you,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You look at your opponent and say, you're not smart enough to figure this out.
and then they are, and you're like,
I guess
got
you
me.
Good job. I actually always, whenever I'm like playing into an obvious line, I just look at my opponent and say, he saw the line.
I usually just like,
He knows how his deck works.
I usually just look at my opponent, nod, and just like, yeah, you got me.
What? What world are we in? He's talking about this Aether Vial.
Maybe we're missing a detail that there's a possibility we're missing a detail.
Okay.
And there's only one Mazavith in the deck, correct?
I believe so.
Just one. Okay, then. So we can't.
You can't, like, get another one. Alright, Reclamation Sage. What are you destroying? Target Batterskull. Okay, I bounce in a response and play it again? Activate. Okay, Flickerless works. Alright, that's easy game.
Yeah. So I would not call it an easy game. There was thought process.
There was no
and
thought
stuff.
on Series Cast.
Yeah, that's fair.
But okay, at least at that point, Sebastian was able to just pick it up by Connor just not having enough. Luckily for Connor, Sebastian made a play that didn't punish him for not doing the Abrupt Decay into the Garruk over 2
Yes.
turns, which should have just been punished.
Yeah. So in that game,
I understand the Pithing Needle argument, but
so I think I like Sebastian's play just because like it gets aggressive really quickly. The only issue with his line of thought is that there are 2 blockers on Connor's side.
yeah,
So it's not like you can just attack and then attack next turn and win. You're going to attack, then get blocked, and then have this whole thing. Whereas you can guaranteed have the Garruk taken down and then use your Pithing Needle on like Knight of a Librarian or something you're worried about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Connor here is going to be able to be on the play here, and again, just in this matchup of like dueling wastelands and Connor having mana creatures,
Yeah.
I just think that puts him at an advantage.
Yeah, especially if he's able to start on the play with a Mana Dork of some type, then he's going to be able to snowball pretty quickly, deploying multiple threats in the time that Sebastian's deploying 1 threat.
All right. I don't know. It's going to work tomorrow.
Boy.
All right. Connor looks like he's happy with his 7. Did Sebastian take a mulligan, or are we just finishing shuffling?
I believe we're just finishing shuffling.
Oh, no, wait. Connor not. Okay. He just looked at it, put it down. Get rid of that one. It looked like a lot of spells, and it looked like a lot of them cost 3.
Yep.
From Sebastian's side, to 2 Aether Vials of Karakas, but not
Yeah.
happy enough.
It looked like his hand was just kind of light on threats,
Okay.
and the Double Eighth Vow, when you have very little threats, is just not enough in this matchup because if you're not deploying a lot of threats and putting things on the board, then you're going to fall behind too quickly.
Oh, I wanted to ask one question. I know you really didn't cast it. What are your thoughts on Night's Whisper?
Oh yeah, I got cut from the deck. So I didn't cast any, but all day today after I submitted the deck list, I was like, why is this card in my deck? Why did this person that went perfect in a league play this card? I couldn't figure out. I just like Preordain and the 7th discard spell a little bit more than those slots.
Okay. That seems completely fair. Connor here. 1, 2, 3. A lot of moves to 5 today.
There have been
Is that Mazavith and no other lands? There's a Deathrite Shaman in there, so if we have another land, we're all right. Do you even play the maze?
I mean, you play it so that way if you next turn draw a land, like if you just keep drawing lands, you want to have the maze in play.
All right, we found a land. Here's Deathrite. All right, Sebastian, you want a swords and you want a wasteland. There's a sword, step 1. Mother of Runes the draw, so that's something to play with your wasteland.
Yep.
Have it, have it, have it. Yes! Yes!
So at this point, Connor's just buried. Like, he mulliganed 5, so there's not too much he could actually do in this game.
Oh, no, not at all.
But Sebastian now has an active Mother of Runes, Connor has 0 mana, and Sebastian just kind of starts...
It was Mazavith. Sebastian can't even attack.
He can't attack. Oh no. Poor him.
2 mana, here's Phyrexian Revoker. Deathrite Shaman the name off the Phyrexian Revoker.
Yep, at this point, with Connor being so low on lands, that's the one card that you care about the activation of the ability.
Yep. It's the only one that's really going to have any ability to pull him back into this game. Windswept Heath's the draw there from Connor, so the potential to dig himself back into this game. But Swords of Plowshares, Batterskull, Sylvan Library, and Knight of the Reliquary, the leftovers. There's Flicker Wisp.
Why did he take that damage?
I have no clue. Maybe we forgot what Maze of Us does.
Okay. So anyways,
I really don't understand. Alright, the Mother of Runes the draw here, and I think we're just going to be deploying that one.
yeah, I mean, it's something, but it's not enough.
He wanted to keep his Maze of Us to pay for days.
There's so many things with that statement you just said. I don't actually know where to begin.
There was no spell.
Uh-huh.
There's no islands.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't tap for mana.
It's also on his deck list. Though
Yeah.
we've already learned that's not a relevant point with Sebastian.
With the Fairy Macabre that's just chilling?
Yeah, it's very macabre.
That's actually a surgical extraction. But yeah, there is the Maze of This, and again, I'm not sure why 2 damage was taken by Connor.
It don't, like,
Also, we should be at 17 because we just fetched. Oh no, we gained a life off Sword Splashers.
Alright, he's gonna maze this now.
Oh,
He
figured it
doesn't know
out.
We sometimes give people a little too much excuse.
He was thinking about trading the Mother of Runes with the Phyrexian Revoker there, but remembering his opponent also has a Mother of Runes.
Yep.
Not really going to work there. Ooh, another Knight of the Reliquary. Is that what we want?
Yeah. So this game, I feel like
Oh.
Connor had it more of a shot in this matchup, but like he just kind of got bad luck out of this game.
Oh, absolutely. So now there's a Mom. So to protect his creature, Sebastian has to use that, but Sword Splasher is going to get rid of the Mom.
Yep. And that
And
makes sense here.
Connor.
So he's essentially trading his Mother of Runes for his opponent's Mother of Runes, but he's also losing a Swords to
Yep.
Plowshares.
Ooh, a Wasteland. Is that the land we wanted?
It's not, and that Sylvan Library is going to start drawing cards. But as we've stated multiple times already, this isn't a matchup of card advantage. This is a matchup of board presence.
Yep, board presence. Also, just the ability to put your opponent a little bit behind, like Sebastian has here, is going to go very hard. Notably, though, Sebastian has 5 lands and has not played anything else. I believe there's a Karakas and another land of some sort in his hand, but I do think there's a Path to Exile.
Now, that Path to Exile does go a bit when Connor only has 1 threat. But if Sebastian's not able to deploy another threat, it's...
He actually might lose this game because Connor found his land.
Yeah.
There's Path on Night. Connor is very happy about it. I think Connor might win this game.
So I'm not ready to jump to the conclusion that he's going to win this game. I now think he has the ability to win the game.
Oh, absolutely. So here's an attack. Mazevith's going to get rid of this Flicker Wisp out of combat here.
Now-
Sebastian.
You know what would be good, though?
What?
If Connor lost due to exact damage.
Due to exact damage.
Because if he was 2 life higher...
But Mirror Crusader here going to be a hard card for him to answer. Ramming Up Excavator, a Containment Priest, and a land on top for Connor.
So, I mean, if he is able to answer the other 2 creatures, the Mazevith can check the Mirror.
Yeah, Mirror Crusader's not that much of a threat. There's a Batterskull in hand, too. So here Connor can get the land, fetch, play the Batterskull. Batterskull blocks. Sebastian's last card is just this Karakas.
Yep. And this...
The only issue here is this Mazevith actually has a lot that it has to do. And if Sebastian has a port or a wasteland, Connor will lose because... What we took 4?
Yeah, he chose to take... He took a lot of damage
That's
there.
a lot of damage. Now we can't fetch because this means the Flickerus is just lethal if, say, Wasteland effect happens. But here's Night.
So, this is... If Sebastian bricks for 2 more turns,
I
Connor...
think we picked up a
I think
Stoneforge.
Connor wins. Stoneforge is not bricking.
No, not at all. How big is this Night, though? I don't know the land count in the graveyard, but I think we're counting, so 2. Okay, so it's 4.
It's a 4/4. So, if Sebastian... Pretty sure Sebastian should have more lands in hand. I do see 1 more land. He can get...
There's a Karakas and a Plains.
Yeah, so he can play a land, play a Stoneforge, get him always Shite, equip it to the Phyrexian Revoker, and attack. If
Okay,
he
so
wants to.
that means the Revoker trades with the Night.
It trades with the Knight, which isn't that
No,
great.
it doesn't because of the fetch land.
Oh yeah, he does have a fetch land. I was not counting that in play. In fact,
Because you can keep the Mazevith checked.
Yep. So at this point, he's probably just going to go for some other various equipment.
I'm gonna be honest.
Like I think that Connor is very far ahead at this point.
As long as a Wasteland effect doesn't come off the top or a port effect to get rid of the maze, and Connor doesn't go to 3, I think he's very favored to potentially win this game.
Yeah, I think that the thing is that Sebastian got very far ahead in the early game, but he just kind of stumbled on his late game draws, so he wasn't able to like fully punish for how far Connor got behind. Which means that Connor just essentially sat there for the first few turns doing basically nothing, and he's going to be a pull-out just because Sebastian really wasn't. He was attacking with 2 a turn.
And very importantly, Sebastian's, well, he drew land heavy, and usually that's okay for Death and Taxes. Basic planes?
Yeah.
6 of them?
Basic planes, meaning that he can't really interact with any of what Connor's doing land-wise, and
Sword of War and Peace.
that wouldn't be my first pick here.
I love me a War and Peace. Cannot tell you how many games I won of that standard format with that on a Mirror Crusader.
Yeah.
It is a lot. Sebastian here checking to see if Connor understands what a Maze of this is, because he didn't earlier.
I'm not going to give him too much more about that.
Sylvan Library sees Council's Judgment, Ramunap Excavator, and a Knight of the Reliquary.
So Council Judgment looking pretty not bad here.
Okay. What are you judgmenting away? The Flicker Wisp?
The Flicker Wisp.
Okay. Ramunap Excavator, not really going to have much of an effect. A second Knight, not something you need right now. Yep, I assume we're just going to get the Judgment. Unless... And we can use the Knight of the Reliquary here if we want the Batter Skull this turn.
Yeah. And I do think that we want to deploy the Batter Skull.
Do you hold the Judgment for the sword?
So
That's dangerous.
it's super dangerous here. That is
I
correct.
mean, fetching is dangerous.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
3 mana.
yeah.
Judgment, alright. What are we naming? Flickerus. I would also like to vote for this. Alright, that's gone. So we don't have to worry about the air.
So if you're not worried about the air, I kind of like at this point, provided you have enough lands, because I'm not sure what lands are left in his deck, cracking the fetch, floating 2 mana, and then sacrificing the land you got with the fetch to deploy your other Knight of the Reliquary. Because that would be 3 mana. 1 plus the...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not all too worried about something. Cavern of Souls to draw from Sebastian. Another land that doesn't have an effect.
Yeah. Now, Connor does have the option to go start setting up the Dark Depths win.
But Caracas breaks that up.
Krakus does break that.
But
he
there's a
doesn't-
wasteland.
There's a wasteland, but he doesn't know about the Krakus currently. That is the big thing. And at this point, he can safely assume Sebastian doesn't have a Path to Exile or Swords Plowshares.
Yep, Cavern on... There's a Cavern, and Sword of War and Peace comes down. It probably gets put on the Stoneforge, but Stoneforge gets checked by the Maze.
Yeah. At this point, it's looking very rough for Sebastian's side.
So, this was a turn that actually was, again, lethal if there was a maze or a way to get rid of the maze from combat. Because Sword of War and Peace makes it to where Knight of the Reliquary can't block. Oh no, but the fetch land gets Dried Armor.
This is correct. So,
Yep, just pass. There's no reason to attack. End step. Connor gonna crack one of his lands. Basic Forest gone.
and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for the Dark Depths plan or the Thespian Sage, either of those 2 cards, yep.
There's stage.
So, this is again interesting.
I'm really happy that this is where this game has gone. It's the game where one player opening hand was Maze of Ith, no other lands.
Yes,
And then you missed your second land for like 3 turns.
he also deployed a Sylvan Library onto a board where his opponent had 2 creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, he's just pulling out, though.
And Library right now looking at land, Garruk, and I think that's a Stoneforge is the last card. But Garruk is really good. Garruk can kill the Stoneforge and leave Garruk at 1 here. Okay, we found the land. Here's Batterskull. Batterskull's also just very good.
Yep. You're just going to go and start setting up the Batterskull plan. And if he wants to, he can even equip up to his Stoneforge Mystic next turn. And
Or
to
the
his Knight of the Reliquary, same thing. Though that does get checked by the
Yeah,
Sword
that just
creature.
gets straight checked by the Phyrexian Invoker.
Yeah.
Sebastian, a fan of the bluff activations of everything that has an activation ability.
Yep, that's kind of his thing.
All right. Horizon Academy, that's a redraw. What do we got?
Probably another land.
I mean, I think it looks like it. He just has 2 lands in his hand.
Yeah, I think this is a game that Sebastian's going to lose due to a little bit of bad RNG on his part.
I mean, how many spells has he drawn? He drew Stonebridge Mystic, Phyrexian Revoker, Swords of Plowshares, Path to Exile, Flicker Wisp.
Yeah, and then if you look at the amount of lands, and the amount of lands he's drawn, though, it's like, that's not great.
Oh yeah, this was a game that Sebastian, for the most part, did look like he was in favor, but it just slipped out of his grasp so far, and cards like Sylvan Library and Knight of the Reliquary and all these other value engines that the Maverick deck has, was just able to outgrind Sebastian from this position. And there's the Dark Depths, which luckily does get checked by a Karakas out of the opposing hand, but I mean,
the Wasteland.
The Wasteland breaks that up too.
Yeah. So at this point, Connor has multiple plans going on. He has the Battle Skull plan, which is going to start gaining him life, attack him from getting cheesed out with a Wasteland plus a way to attack in. And then he also has this 2020 he's going to start setting up. And at this point, it's just not looking great for Sebastian.
And Swords of the Plowshares on top of the deck for Connor. Containment Priest, the last card. Kremen for 4. Sebastian's going to chump block. Connor goes up to 8. Also, we're getting closer and closer to the position where Connor might be able to just start gaining life enough to start drawing extra cards off the Sylvan Library.
Yeah. And worth noting, Sebastian choosing to block the 4/4 because he wants to stay above 20 life in case that Dark Depths is able to ever connect. Well,
absolutely.
The Merit Lodge, I suppose.
2 mana. Here's a Chitty.
That's
not good.
Not great at all, actually.
Okay, so we're probably not going to play the Karakas, and okay. So this is a specific situation. We need to not play the Karakas, so that we only go to 3, and then we can bounce.
Yes.
Which is strange.
Like, it's interesting.
But okay, here's Karakas, but now we just Wasteland.
Well, there's also the issue of that Connor can just attack with multiple creatures.
Merit Liege also can just be equipped with Battle Skull.
Yeah, or he just attacks with all of his creatures and Sebastian blocks. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems here. Ooh, Garruk actually just kills the Phyrexian Revoker here?
Yep.
What an amusing game.
All this. At this point, I have to imagine Sebastian sitting there thinking to himself, where did I go wrong? The answer is, you didn't. Your deck did. It went wrong.
Alright. Well, Knight has to get activated here, but, I mean, I think that's fine.
I think you're fine with that. And, yep.
4 mana. Here's Garruk. Fight that.
4 mana, terminate.
Absolutely. 4 mana, Lightning Bolt. Colorless. Ghost Fire.
4 mana Ghost Fire with spell damage +1. Because Ghost Fire is 2, right?
No, Ghost Fire is actually 3. It's 3 mana to deal 3. It's Ugin plus.
Oh yeah, it is. That's
all right. And Connor gets that 2-1, and that was a good match. There was a lot. I think there's a lot of value for both of those players to go back and watch.
So I think that game 1 and 2 were real games. Game 3 just didn't feel like a real game from either side to me. But like games 1 and 2 definitely had a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
But either way, fun matchup to watch, and I imagine this one's gonna be much the same. And I always really enjoy watching 4-color Loam.
It's a very interesting deck. It started showing up half a year ago, about a little bit before the DC area. Like a year ago. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So about a year ago, it started showing up more, and it's picked up in popularity. It's a deck that has a lot of play and a wide variety of the matchups in the Legacy format.
One thing that I kind of compared it to was kind of like mixing lands and Maverick and kind of going to the middle ground to them.
It is something like that. You do have a lot of interesting value engines going on, and you feel pretty favored in matchups where you're both trying to play an even game. I do think that you can play Chalice, which helps you out in the combo matchups, but you still don't feel that strong in combo matchups.
Well, this isn't a matchup where Chalice is going to have like a lot of power.
No, Chalice is not going to have very much power.
Chalice only has 10 targets, potentially, or sorry, 12 targets with a couple extras if like Green Sun's on one.
No, this is definitely not a Chalice matchup. You play Chalice because of decks like Ad Nauseam Tendrils,
Delver.
Delver to a lesser extent, but specifically the decks are trying to kill you in one turn.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can fight Delver. You can fight them in the fair game. You can't fight the combo decks in a fair game.
So what are the cards that really matter from Kirby in this matchup?
So the Punishing Fire can do a lot here, obviously,
Okay.
when you're playing creature matchup. Dark Confidants allow you to get a lot of card advantage. Having 3 Abrupt Decays, the Liliana, the Vindicate, those things are all good here.
Mm-hmm.
And post-board, he does have a variety of Planeswalkers, plus different other options he has available to him. He has more Swords Plowshares. He has a lot of things going on for him to outgrind Connor.
All right. And we talked about this earlier that you think that Kirby's going to be at an advantage here, and I do too. Just that usual, the deck that goes slightly bigger when you're enacting similar game plans, usually the deck that goes just a bit bigger is better.
I do think that Kirby's going to be slightly favored, but I do feel that there is room for Connor to pull this one out.
Absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
Connor here going to be on the play, and it looks like we have a Dark Depths in our opening hand, Birds of Paradise, Abrupt Decay. Not a great look at the rest of the hand, though. Kirby here, Punishing Fire pulled to the front. I think there's a Mox of Diamond hanging out in the middle. There's Life from the Loam.
So Kirby going to go and fetch out some sort of dual land, I assume, and he's just throwing it down.
All right. I mean, that's not much of a card that has a very, very important...
So Kirby had the option of firing the bird or playing this Chalice on one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally not that huge a fan of going for the Chalice plan because your opponent played a bird, they're more likely to play a 3-drop here.
Yep. And also just, you had the Punishing Fire.
Yeah.
Push the bird.
Push the bird, and then just deal with whatever Connor ends up deploying. But I think that Kirby's thought process here is that he's not winning quickly, so denying the mono ramp doesn't matter that much, and he wants to save the Punishing Fire for an actual threat.
Yep. So here's 3 mana. Here's Ramming Up Excavator. That is a card that can get a little bit out of hand, but doesn't get checked by Punishing Fire here.
This is correct.
Wasteland the draw. I think Kirby's hand is a little land heavy.
Yeah.
And there is the Excavator, the Naga Cleric from Hour of Devastation? No, that's...
That's our. So that is a card I did not bring up when we were talking about this matchup. This card is a huge problem for Kirby.
Absolutely. It makes it to where the Wasteland plan doesn't work.
Yeah. Wasteland plan doesn't work, and it's a 2/3 which works on Punishing Fire. It's just an awkward card for you to deal with.
Kirby is going to go ahead and Wasteland his opponent here, though.
Now, he's biting that bullet because he knows that Connor can just play it again. But at the same time, I imagine he's really worried about his opponent playing
a Knight of the
Knight of
Reliquary, something of similar.
Yeah.
And Connor here plays a Sylvan Library, and that's another card that's huge in the matchup.
Yeah, I actually think that Connor's going to get this one.
I think this game is pretty over, honestly.
Yeah.
Recycling a Barrenmore, picks up another Chalice, eh?
Yeah. Chalice really showing off how not great it is in this matchup. There is a Mother of Runes in Connor's hand, I believe, but oh no, he doesn't get to cast his
If he
Mother of
needs
Runes.
to cast it, there's an Abrupt Decay to push it through.
Yeah, like, the Chalices do hurt game one.
So, fetching for a Savannah here. And Kirby, I think, has Life from the Loam. I think he also might have the Gadok Teague in his hand.
Yeah, he's just drawing the wrong part of his deck for this matchup.
Yep, there's a Loam. Loam's going to pick up Wasteland and some other lands. Barrenmore, Wasteland, and a Dryad Arbor. That Dryad Arbor's banned. Get it out of here. We see another Abrupt Decay, a Birds of Paradise, and a Deathrite Shaman. Alright, so if he wants those cards, he has to force them through this Chalice, but he also can just play the fetch lands out of his graveyard next to this Ramming Up Excavator to get rid of them.
Like, right now, Kirby's not really doing anything to mess with Connor's game plan very
not
much.
at all.
He's not deploying threats, and Connor, on the other hand, is furthering his game plan, getting card advantage, and
Deploying threats, messing Kirby up, just doing this, that, the other thing.
pretty much everything you want to do in this matchup.
I'm kind of worried about going home.
Is it doing a big sleet outside?
I just got a message by a friend, be careful if you go out.
It's fine. Just don't do a die.
I'll try my hardest, man. Decay Chalice.
Yep. Pretty abrupt decision there to just go ahead and take it out. But that allows him to play the Mother Runes, which is just gonna, if it untaps, it's gonna just make it even harder for Kirby.
His mom was okay with these abrupt decisions. Another land over there from Kirby. Cycle, let's hit something real. Can't cycle off Savannah. No, no, no. Is that a scrub land?
I can't tell if that's a scrub land or... I really hate those arts. Okay, that's a scrub land.
And there's Dark Confidant. Okay. I don't think that matters because now there's an active bomb.
Yeah, so the Dark Confidant coming down a little too late here, and game one just looking really not that great.
No, not at all. Dry Arbor's land for turn. Swords Plowshares, Wasteland, and Horizon Canopy.
Well, that Swords Plowshare is looking pretty good here. Gonna go and take care of Kirby's one single threat / card advantage engine, and at this point make it even harder for Kirby to do anything.
Mm-hmm. It's getting harder and harder. So this is the only issue I have with this matchup. A lot of these decisions have been pretty quick. We have the old Sylvan Library making decisions a lot longer.
Yep. Ah.
Wasteland, Decay, Deathrite Shaman, attack you for 2.
Okay, so yeah, this match is over.
I don't know what Kirby's deck does to get himself back into this game. I don't think Punishing Fire is the answer.
Punishing Fire, definitely not the answer when there is an active Mother of Runes.
It's not in his list.
Yeah.
Chalice on 1, eh? Is this one good?
Chalice on 1 once the opponents deployed their Mother of Runes and Deathrite Shaman.
And there was Ordia Birds earlier. And Galdock Teague. No Green Sun Zenith is here.
Yep.
Swords, Horizon Canopy, and a Green Sun Zenith. Oh, none of those are castable. Get them out of here. Oh, we want it, huh? That one's not very good.
Which one did you get?
The Green Sun.
Now, here's the question.
Okay.
Do you think...
He's going to cast it? Absolutely.
Okay, then.
Deal 2. 1 mana. Okay, Loam Eaton. You're ready, aren't you?
I mean, I'm going to assume that Kirby will call it before I do.
Yeah,
Wasteland is land for turn. Green Source gone.
Okay.
There's still the Mox at least.
Alright, so what we doing here?
He's got to cast his Green Sun to shuffle his bad cards away. Illegal cast. Oop, Connor caught himself. Galdock Teague. Non-creature spells with X in their mana cost cannot be played.
Connor went faster than all of us.
I didn't see what Kirby drew, but I still don't think anything matters. Another Mox Diamond, eh?
Mox Diamond, not looking very good here.
It's better than Wasteland, at least. I think we're a little bit far behind.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, at this point, you can't really outvalue Connor here because this is a lot of value on Connor's
No, but it's
side.
okay. All he has to do is Punishing Fire the Mom.
Uh-huh.
And Connor forget to use it.
Is that all?
And then
Okay.
we have to somehow Punishing Fire the Deathrite Shaman without getting it out of the opponent's deck. Or without him just exiling it.
I mean...
After we also get a Grove, which we don't have.
From what you're saying,
We
it's
need
pretty
a-
likely Kirby's going to get it.
Yeah, man, it's it's pretty much a lock. There's the Knight of the Reliquary. We're going to play that one. And we're going to get another Wasteland out of the graveyard, probably. Assuming we remember that we can still do that.
I mean...
Still can.
Yep,
Huh?
so we're going to Wasteland him.
Get that one out of there.
And Kirby's just... Whew.
Sweet deck.
So, Kirby's deck can look sweet.
What was that?
His deck can look sweet.
Yeah, but there's so many games, like, his first game that he played, his, like, opening hand was, like, a bunch of non-black lands, Liliana, Knight of the Reliquary.
Okay, so you got me. But I would like to think about, what if Kirby was on the play this game? It still wouldn't matter. But
No.
it would be a slightly different game. It
Oh,
would
no,
actually
so he
look
would have
like a
been able to
game,
turn one Chalice against...
which would stop the birds.
So it would have made it to where Connor can't do anything until turn 3 because of an Abrupt Decay?
Yes.
I don't know if it matters enough. But okay, so Maverick going to go ahead and get game 1 there, which neither of us really expected.
Didn't expect it, but that is one of those draws where, even though I said that I feel that Kirby's slightly favored, Connor can get ahead like he did that game, and if he does, Kirby can't really catch up.
So you want to go ahead and take the Loam side, and I'll take the Maverick side then?
Sounds good.
All right, so
So-
from the Loam side.
From the loam side, let's just go and start off with what we've got here. So, Chalice is not great. That's 4 cuts. Galdock
Okay.
Teague, not great. 5 cuts. You want to bring in the the Planeswalker package and all of its entirety. That's 3, and the 2 Swords Plowshares. Seems
Okay.
good. Beyond that, there's an argument for a couple other cards, but those are the cards that I think are the most important here.
What about Reclamation Sage against your opponent, Stoneforge Mystics?
Reclamation
your
Sage is one of the cards that
Sylvan Libraries.
Yeah, Reclamation Sage is one of the cards I would consider. It's all just what you want to cut at this point because you don't have very many cards that are necessarily the best to cut. I could see cutting just one of your sorted threats. Or
Maybe one
even a
Liliana the
land.
Veil against a Birds of Paradise deck?
Maybe one Liliana the Veil, yes. Like, it's unlikely that they have more than like 2 Birds of Paradise, but cutting out a Liliana in the deck against the deck that floods the board is logical.
What do you think about trimming maybe like the Cabal Pit?
I like the Quell Pit.
You like it enough for the matchup?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one of his best ways to, like, against these creature decks, just start looping that every turn, just Duress every turn.
Okay.
It's pretty not bad.
All right, and then from the Maverick side, I would assume the Garruk Relentless, Batterskull, Reclamation Sage, all coming in, along with Surgical Extractions, being able to answer life for the loam,
Yep.
card that it brings back, that type of thing, and the Bajuku Bug.
Yep, that's
I
about
would
right.
assume to get those 6 cards in, potentially an Abrupt Decay, but I don't think it's necessary for this type of
Mm-hmm.
matchup. Those 6 coming in, 2 Thalias coming out, just not
Yep.
impressed by Thalia in this type of matchup. Also, it's so hard to see some of these cards on this stupid thing. In these kind of grindy matchups, taking out Birds of Paradise sometimes makes sense.
So, it's one of those weird things. Birds of Paradise can be really strong in this matchup.
Yes.
I feel like on the draw it loses a lot of points, though, and I could certainly see cutting it in the draw a lot more.
So cutting the
easily.
2 of those, what do you think about the equipment package? Do you think Umezawa's Jitty and Sword of Fire and Ice are good enough?
So Sword of Fire and Ice feels fine. It
Okay.
gives you card advantage. It adds pressure. Umezawa's Jitte, definitely not its best in this matchup. You can kill the Dark Confidants, and you can use it as a way to, like, pump through a little extra damage. But the life gain isn't that relevant, and a lot of times you're not going to kill that much with it.
So you would maybe think cut the Jitty. What do you think about the Council's Judgment? Is there enough situations where Council's Judgment is good enough?
So Council of Judgment can hit one of his opposing Planeswalkers.
Mhm.
I'm not honestly sure if the amount of Planeswalkers Kirby is on is the average, but you can assume that there's going to be some amount of Planeswalkers.
I think a Johnny is the only kind of spicy card.
Yeah. So you can assume there's going to be some type of Planeswalker coming on the opponent's side. And being able to hit random assorted things that he might bring in that could be stick on the board, answer a Dark Confidant, things like that.
Okay.
I could see it being useful.
Alrighty. So we're going to go ahead and get down to the game with Kirby on the play yet again. And so one thing I wanted to bring up, and we watched it earlier with Kirby versus Alex, is that Delver match for the 4-color Loam. Is it usually a favorable matchup for Loam?
Yes, it's usually a favored matchup just because it's hard for Delver to enact its game plan of just stifling you out of the game. Well, not stifling.
There's not a lot of stifles anymore.
Not a lot of stifles. I'm using stifle as a way of explaining what their game plan is, but it's not very good when there's a card called stifle in the format. But they can't really enact their game plan to its fullest against you.
All right, so going into the game, Connor's opening hand here looks like we have Ramunap Excavator, a fetched land, a Sylvan Library, a Bajoku Bog, pick up a Wasteland for the turn here, Surgical Extraction, can't see the card on the very back of the hand though, and Abrupt Decay. All right.
Okay.
From a Kirby side, Wasteland, Verdant Catacombs, Cabal Pit in the grip. You can't see what's pushed up to the front of his hand there, just a forest. Caracas also. A lot of lands from the players.
A lot of lands. Kirby's deck, it's kind of expected for you to have a high amount of lands. For those who remember looking at the deck list just like a couple minutes ago, his deck is pretty dense with lands.
Well, I mean, it's a thing of this deck is kind of like shoving Maverick and lands together. You have that higher land count because it makes Mox work.
Whereas Connor's side can be a little bit more impacted by having too many lands.
And turn 2 Sylvan Library here is going to have a very big point in this game, I believe.
Yep. He is opening his Wasteland up to his opponent's Wasteland, but it doesn't matter that much if you're able to start generating card advantage off of your Sylvan Library.
And I think Kirby does have a Liliana the Veil here, but that card is not at its best against a card like Sylvan Library.
No, when your opponent is able to generate additional card advantage, the Liliana loses a lot of its strength.
Mhm.
It's just kind of like in Modern when your opponent has a Jace the Mind Sculpt and you have a Liliana. It doesn't feel that great.
All right, so there's Lily, and that, again, just not going to have much of a real impact here.
Yeah.
And Connor here has a second Wasteland, so we can actually Wasteland away the Cabal Pit and the Bayou this coming turn if we want to.
And just cut down Kirby's mana. Though, if he does that, then he's not really applying anything to the board, and he does have to worry about eventually Liliana leading up to its ult.
Correct. We do have a Ramunap Excavator in the hand too. Greenstone Zenith and 2 lands on top here. Discarding Bajoku Bog here to the Liliana is pretty much just a play because we do have the Excavator already.
Yeah.
Connor here is going to take 4, picking up an extra land to pair with his Greenstone Zenith. There's a Savannah, 2 mana.
Yep.
Oh, okay, Scrubland again.
Yep. And he's choosing to just go ahead and take care of Liliana, take care of a green source, leave Kirby light on mana, and without anything really going on, whereas Connor has his card advantage.
But now Kirby here can play Dark Confidant and get rid of Connor's dual land.
So now they're just playing this little game of trying to limit each other's resources and also, while doing that, keep their own resources up.
Yep. Connor here finds another Sylvan Library, a Wasteland, and an Uma's Jawa's Jitty.
Yeah, that's not that strong.
There's no interaction between 2 Sylvan Libraries, right? There's nothing special.
Not. I don't
It's not
know.
like you look at 5.
It's you draw 3. I would have to look at the exact wording. Draw 2 additional. So yeah, there is an interaction there.
So you look at 5.
Yeah, but yeah, I in general just hate Sylvan Library.
It is one of the most confusing Magic the Gathering cards.
It feels like a mistake, but
Maybe we're going to get it on screen here. The beginning of your draw step,
Yep.
you may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards from your hand drawn this turn. For each of those cards, pay 4 or put the card on top. All right, so if you have 2 of them, you draw 2, put 2 back, and then draw 2, put 2 back, or you
yep,
draw 2, put no back, and then draw 2, put 2 back.
yeah,
So like if you want to pay life, you get deeper.
yeah. So it's weird.
It's a great card.
It,
No confusion here. At least we figured out how to word it.
yeah, it's not quite like Animate Dead where they still don't know how to word that thing.
My favorite are the old Sylvan Libraries that have an activation cost.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then how that's... It was like Oracle to have an activation cost, and then it was Oracle to no longer have an activation cost.
Oh, Sylvan Library, you're a mess of a magic
And we're
card.
getting... Nope, I think it's one of the mid editions. Yep.
Yep.
Pay 0, draw 2 cards, and then choose any 2 cards from your hand drawn. Well, you can use this ability only once during your draw phase and only once a turn.
Yeah, that's a mess.
I don't know how you would be able to use it once during your draw phase, but twice a turn.
Yep.
Not sure how that would work. I think there's a card that gives you a second draw phase.
Yeah.
There has to be.
There probably is. I don't know. But no. So let's get away from the whole Sylvan Library.
Let's get back to the game. There was a surgical extraction here, and I think it was on Wasteland.
It was indeed on Wasteland. This prevents Kirby from playing the mana denial strategy.
Mhm.
And
Well, there's still a Ghost Quarter.
there's the Ghost Quarter is not nearly as good as the Wasteland.
So Dark Confidant flips his friend. Kirby here going to deploy the other one and play a Caracas. Don't think it really matters what land you're tapping here.
Not a ton.
Dark Confidant gonna cram in for some damage, and the Sylvan Library is going to see a Wasteland, a Birds of Paradise, and a Mother of Runes. It was always Jitty, Ramunap Excavator, and Knight of the Reliquary still in hand. I'm kind of interested here to see the Jitty still in deck.
So I think it's fine.
No,
like,
I think it's fine.
but it's just what he cut.
Mhm.
So I'm not for sure without looking at this deck, honestly. Maverick, not a deck that has been heavy on my radar to look into. It's fallen off a little bit, and honestly, it's not that type of archetype I would play.
Oh, no.
And most of the decks I play is just like, all right, they play like a Chalice or something. I don't know, and that's all I know about them.
So here's a Knight. Kirby motioning that he would like to block.
I would like to block your 0/1 flyer.
That is tapping for mana.
Yes. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Natural Order. There are not. That's disappointing. I wish there were more cards to break the rules of Magic.
Oh, so we played Knight of the Reliquary, and then played a land out of his graveyard. And he was like, oh wait, never mind, wrong card. This is the world we live in. And I can't wait until we start doing Saturday tournaments and we get to call people and stuff.
Saturday tournaments are gonna be lit.
I can't wait to just always be in here.
I'm fine with always being in here for Saturday.
Well, I think for Saturday tournaments, it's pretty much a lock that it's you and me.
Yeah.
Alright, Double Dark Confidant, we flipped Liliana and Green Sun Zenith. That Liliana a little awkward to cast at the moment. It'd be real good right now if he could, because it'd get rid of this Mother of Runes, and we need to get rid of that right now. We have no other way to do that?
Yep. I mean, once he gets a threshold, he can remove it if he has another black source.
So, one thing I need to learn
Uh-huh.
is that if I ever say that something's a good matchup Lyman Booth,
Uh-huh.
the player that I think is favored is going to lose.
That's fair. Did you say, importantly, did you say who was favored in the Delver matchup?
In between you and Delver?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, then.
Because I think that's relatively 50-50 and is all player skill.
It's more like 60-40, and player skill can drag it down to 55-45. But they have so much pressure and disruption.
Oh, absolutely. Alright, so we see a Bird's Paradise, a Wasteland, and a Savannah. That one's actually a Savannah. There's no way there are two Scrublands.
This is also the side of Legacy that's a mystery to me. I've not played a deck that doesn't have like Underground Sea or Volcanic Island in it.
I've played a couple different decks in Legacy, but most of my decks, oddly enough, have Graveyard interaction.
Alright, so I've just been corrected. I played Mono Red Stompy once.
You monster.
I want it to win.
No, the one in play, but I think he just drew a Savannah. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Alright, so Connor choosing to Wasteland the Cabal Pit and play Azuma's Jete, and oh boy.
Jet, equip. Pro green?
Okay.
Preemptive protection's kind of interesting to me.
So I think he's trying to bait Kirby into a double block here. Because he double blocks and then the Skoos dies, so he's essentially...
He gets to clear his whole board, but revoke and exposing the Mother of Runes isn't all too damaging.
Especially not when the opponent's as far behind as they are right now. So I actually like that play.
Is that a black X or a red X land? Is it Badlands? No, it's Taiga. Fire that bomb.
Yeah. So
You're
now
outta
the Mother
here.
Rune's going to get P-fired, and Connor no longer has the Excavator to continually just get value off of.
Green Sun's for 0 here. After he cast it, making sure his Dryad Arbor's not in the graveyard.
That would have been real awkward. Choosing to get a Force instead of a Dryad Arbor here, interesting decision on his part.
Can we fetch for Ghost Quarter?
I don't know. If we ever get Brad Nelson in, we can.
There is no way that's second Scrubland. Maverick does not play 2 Scrublands. I don't think it does.
Alright. So Connor's in the tank, but at this point, he's just so far ahead.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, isn't that the
He does? I'm gonna scream.
It's probably because he didn't have this thing by you, Andy.
Yeah, there's a double Wasteland. Neither Reliquary, Bird's Paradise is left over, so here's a die of the Reliquary, and Kirby's left with a bunch of green mana and a double black card in his hand. Sweet duck.
Yep. I think that Kirby's gonna get cleanly 2-0'd here.
Ooh, now he has a library. Now he gets to pick back up in tempo.
That's not how it works, actually.
Opponent sees 3 cards, pretty happy with it. This Jitty here going to get equipped, and that's going to take care of that Dryad Arbor.
It's gonna take care of the Dryad Arbor. Kirby's gonna take a lot of damage.
Do you know Umazawa's Jitty had a 4th mode where it just destroys target forest?
My favorite mode.
It's in the flavor text. There's Kasali Pride Mage. Are we popping this library instead of activating her Jitty?
No.
Battle. 8 damage. Kirby down to 2. Yep. Alright.
Kirby's at 2. That Dryad Arbor's dead.
Dryad Arbor's dead. You have Forest Sylvan Library. Alright, we see Mox Diamond. Chalice is still in her deck?
It's not worth it.
Alright.
Alright, so I was wrong.
I've been wrong a lot tonight.
I mean, tonight,
Yeah, man.
All right. So, anyways, so fun little Legacy night tonight. Did anyone go 2-0? Alex went 2-0. Did anyone else go 2-0?
No, I think every other match went to 3.
Okay then. So no, 2-0 in matches. Like Alex won hit.
Yeah, Alex is the only one that won both of his matches.
Okay then.
No, Connor won both of his because he beat
Oh,
Death
Connor-
in Texas, drawing all of his
Oh
lines.
yeah. So Connor and Alex both went 2-0 in
Mhm.
matches tonight. So we got to see a good sampling of the Legacy format. Got to see 2 generic combo decks, 2 mid-range green decks, a Delver deck, and
Death and
Tats and Taxes. The one that everyone always forgets about.
I think it's a lot less of that. That deck I think is on a lot more people's radar.
It's probably because like whenever someone mentions Legacy, and I hope that he's still in the chat, Phil just pops up behind him and is like, "Have you heard about our Lord and Savior, Thalia?"
All right, but thank you anybody that's come out to watch our stream tonight. Hopefully there will still be me in the stream next week as I drive home safely.
I'm fine if I don't show up to the stream. Like if I wreck, oh no, I'm dead to die. So, anyways, it's great having everyone here, and we'll see you next week.
We want to go ahead and remind everyone that we do do a replay of the stream after.
Oh, yes.
So
That's
if
a new
you
thing for
are,
me.
say, a West Coast or anything like that, and
Yep.
you're tuning in for the first time right now, we do a replay, and we started about 7:30, so it's about 3 hours of Magic if you want to go ahead and check out how the matches before
Yep.
we win.
So that's gotta be something nice for those who weren't able to catch all of this, or they just want to see the same content again.
Mhm.
Whatever floats your boat, really.
And on average, we do start every single Tuesday at roughly 7:30.
Yep.
So we'd love to see you guys there if you'd like to join us for any of those times.
Yep. And hopefully tonight we were able to start leaving a great little legacy with our weekly tournaments.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
yeah?
A little bit of stretch there. All right, we're good now.
We're good. Everyone have a great night. Thank you for watching MTG Get
Great
Their Stream tonight. And goodbye from the basement.